CloudBrick. Smart Web Application Protection from CloudBrick is an affordable, fully managed web security for your company. As infrastructure environments for enterprises have changed, from on-prem to cloud and IoT, security measures have also evolved to follow suit. CloudBrick's Smart Web Application Protection is a comprehensive, all-in-one web security service. CloudBrick is a fully managed SecAS, or Security as a Service, meaning the CloudBrick security team monitors all your traffic 24/7, so you can be assured your website is secure and business keeps rolling. We manage the complicated WAF rule sets and tweak configurations to suit your needs, so you don't have to. Just get insight into your security from the monthly web report available through the intuitive console. CloudBrick also comes standard with DDoS attack protection up to 40 gigabits per second with advanced protection options for larger attacks up to 65 terabps. And we provide free SSL certificates for all your domains, so you know your valuable data is encrypted and secured. CloudBrick leads the industry standard with the highest accuracy. Our patented logic engine detects and blocks known, unknown, and even modified web attacks with our deep learning AI vision to back it up for an even higher accuracy, which makes CloudBrick web security even more effective against zero-day exploits and advanced persistent threats that cannot be blocked with traditional WAFs that rely only on known attack patterns. Ultimately, CloudBrick boasts the highest hit rate against real threats, or in other words, a low false positive rate. That means your website welcomes real customers while blocking out hackers and cyber terrorists, so your business can grow as it should. CloudBrick is versatile in both deployment and usage. CloudBrick servers can be installed on the cloud, virtual private servers, or on-premise bare metal hardware. No corporate infrastructure? No worries. We'll provide the cloud, pre-installed with CloudBrick for you. Interested in becoming a CloudBrick business partner? We partner with MSPs like hosting companies, managed security service providers, IT consultants, and more. Smart Web Application Protection from CloudBrick is an affordable, fully managed web security for your company. Visit cloudbrick.com to learn more.
이제부터 바이오 전자서명을 이용해서 더욱 안전하고 편리하게 계약하세요. 지문 등록 방법에 대해서 알아볼까요? 등록할 지문의 손가락을 선택하세요. 촬영하기 버튼을 터치하면 총 4회에 걸쳐서 지문을 촬영합니다. 손가락 모양의 안내선에 손가락의 크기와 위치를 맞추면 자동으로 촬영됩니다. 모든 촬영이 끝나면 등록 절차가 완료됩니다. 비접촉 지문 인증을 이용해서 전자청약 시에 바이오 전자서명하는 방법에 대하여 알아볼까요? 기존 계약 시에는 서명란을 일일이 사인을 했지만 이제부터는 터치 한 번만으로 간편하게 서명할 수 있습니다. 바이오 전자서명을 진행합니다. 태블릿 PC에 나타나는 QR코드를 스마트폰으로 스캔한 뒤 스마트폰으로 지문 인증을 해주세요. 손가락 모양 안내선에 손가락의 크기와 위치를 맞추어 촬영해주세요. 지문 인증이 성공되면 전자서명이 완료됩니다. 이제부터 바이오 전자서명을 이용해서 더욱 안전하고 편리하게 계약하세요.
Hai, selamat datang di Coinworks, super financial app pertama di Indonesia. Satu aplikasi dengan berbagai layanan produk pendanaan dan pinjaman yang membuatmu bisa melangkah lebih untuk penuhi berbagai kebutuhan agar kamu dapat lebih cepat meraih impian finansial di masa depan. Nikmati kemudahan mendanai dan berinvestasi di Koin P2P, Koin Robo, Koin Bond, dan Koin Gold. Atau rasakan cepatnya proses pengajuan pinjaman di Koin Bisnis dan Koin Gaji.
Siapapun bisa!
Uniview is the pioneer and the leader of IP video surveillance. Our team is professional and reliable. We worked together for more than 12 years. Since founded in 2011, Uniview became number 3 in China market in 2 years and became the top 10 in global market in 4 years.
Now our products covered more than 140 countries, and we are on the way to become top 3 of the global market.
In future, Uniview wants to share more and more benefits from the rapid growth with all of our partners.
Uniview is committed to create value and improve satisfaction for customers. Uniview can provide suitable solutions to meet different market requirements, no matter our customer is a distributor or a brand owner.
Uniview has 6 R&D centers, 1,800 R&D employees. Every year, we invest more than 15% of our revenue into R&D. We hold more than 1,800 patents, 83% of which are invention patents.
Uniview is the second largest patent applied company, but has number 1 per capita innovation ability in video surveillance industry.
Uniview has always pushed the edge of high quality. We inspect every component and select materials carefully. Each detail is meticulously designed, engineered, and crafted until products have the industry-leading quality.
In Uniview, we regard good technical and delivery service as key factors to help our partner get successful business as well. Through our 24-hour technical center, each partner can easily get different kinds of support, such as product selection, solution design, system operation, and so on. Our UNV certified training program and R&D direct project on-site support greatly help our partners to build their own technical expert team. Uniview is always beside and in touch with you.
We create the value by quality, promote the value by innovation, and share the value by win-win together. Better security, better world is not just a slogan, it's also what we are dreaming for and working for.
CloudBrick. Smart web application protection from CloudBrick is an affordable, fully managed web security for your company. As infrastructure environments for enterprises have changed, from on-prem to cloud and IoT, security measures have also evolved to follow suit. CloudBrick's Smart Web Application Protection is a comprehensive, all-in-one web security service. CloudBrick is a fully managed SecAS, or Security as a Service, meaning the CloudBrick security team monitors all your traffic 24/7, so you can be assured your website is secure and business keeps rolling. We manage the complicated WAF rule sets and tweak configurations to suit your needs, so you don't have to. Just get insight into your security from the monthly web report available through the intuitive console. CloudBrick also comes standard with DDoS attack protection up to 40 gigabits per second with advanced protection options for larger attacks up to 65 terabps. And we provide free SSL certificates for all your domains, so you know your valuable data is encrypted and secured. CloudBrick leads the industry standard with the highest accuracy. Our patented logic engine detects and blocks known, unknown, and even modified web attacks with our deep learning AI vision to back it up for an even higher accuracy, which makes CloudBrick web security even more effective against zero-day exploits and advanced persistent threats that cannot be blocked with traditional WAFs that rely only on known attack patterns. Ultimately, CloudBrick boasts the highest hit rate against real threats, or in other words, a low false positive rate. That means your website welcomes real customers while blocking out hackers and cyber terrorists, so your business can grow as it should. CloudBrick is versatile in both deployment and usage. CloudBrick servers can be installed on the cloud, virtual private servers, or on-premise bare metal hardware. No corporate infrastructure? No worries. We'll provide the cloud, pre-installed with CloudBrick for you. Interested in becoming a CloudBrick business partner? We partner with MSPs like hosting companies, managed security service providers, IT consultants, and more. Smart Web Application Protection from CloudBrick is an affordable, fully managed web security for your company. Visit cloudbrick.com to learn more.
이제부터 바이오 전자섬유를 이용해서 더욱 안전하고 편리하게 계약하세요. 지문 등록 방법에 대해서 알아볼까요? 등록할 지문의 손가락을 선택하세요. 촬영하기 버튼을 터치하면 총 4회에 걸쳐서 지문을 촬영합니다. 손가락 모양의 안내선에 손가락의 크기와 위치를 맞추면 자동으로 촬영됩니다. 모든 촬영이 끝나면 등록 절차가 완료됩니다. 비접촉 지문 인증을 이용해서 전자청약 시에 바이오 전자서명하는 방법에 대하여 알아볼까요? 기존 계약 시에는 서명란을 일일이 사인을 했지만 이제부터는 터치 한 번만으로 간편하게 서명할 수 있습니다. 바이오 전자서명을 진행합니다. 태블릿 PC에 나타나는 QR코드를 스마트폰으로 스캔한 뒤 스마트폰으로 지문 인증을 해주세요. 손가락 모양 안내선에 손가락의 크기와 위치를 맞추어 촬영해주세요. 지문 인증이 성공되면 전자서명이 완료됩니다. 이제부터 바이오 전자서명을 이용해서 더욱 안전하고 편리하게 계약하세요.
Selamat siang Bapak Ibu dan para hadirin sekalian yang saya hormati. Selamat datang kembali dalam acara ATISI Digital Forum Cybersecurity and Data Protection 2021 and Beyond. Selamat datang kepada seluruh manajemen dan perwakilan dari Asosiasi Teknologi dan Industri Security Indonesia, Badan Siber dan Sandi Negara, anggota Komisi 1 DPR RI dari fraksi PDI Perjuangan, Bareskrim Polri, Korea Internet and Security Agency, serta Microsoft Indonesia, Coinworks, Red Piranha, Somansa, Uniview, Winning Eye, Cloudbreak, PT NAP Info Lintas Nusa, dan Profestama Teknik Cemerlang, dan juga tentunya para peserta sekalian yang kami hormati. Kembali lagi bersama saya Stefani yang akan memandu acara hari ini. Terima kasih atas kehadiran Anda pada acara hari ini di sesi kedua. Sebentar lagi kita akan bersama-sama melanjutkan ATISI Digital Forum Cybersecurity and Data Protection 2021 and Beyond yang akan kita lanjutkan hingga pukul 5 sore untuk memberikan wawasan terbaru tentang keamanan siber dan perlindungan data di Indonesia. Sebelum memulai, kita akan menyaksikan video dari Coinworks.
Hai, selamat datang di Coinworks, super financial app pertama di Indonesia. Satu aplikasi dengan berbagai layanan produk pendanaan dan pinjaman yang membuatmu bisa melangkah lebih untuk penuhi berbagai kebutuhan agar kamu dapat lebih cepat meraih impian finansial di masa depan. Nikmati kemudahan mendanai dan berinvestasi di Coin P2P, Coin Robo, Coin Bond, dan Coin Gold. Atau rasakan cepatnya proses pengajuan pinjaman di Coin Bisnis dan Coin Gaji.
Siapapun bisa!
Sebagai perusahaan yang bergerak di bidang teknologi dan mengharuskan perusahaan untuk terus berinovasi, Timotius berkewajiban untuk mengontrol jalannya seluruh aktivitas teknologi informasi perusahaan dan memastikan bahwa sistem berjalan dengan lancar untuk kebutuhan pengguna. Berkat kerjasamanya dengan seluruh tim IT Coinworks dan pengalamannya selama lebih dari 15 tahun di industri teknologi, ia berhasil mewujudkan inovasi teknologi yang ada di Coinworks untuk mempertahankan perusahaan agar tetap menjadi P2P lending terdepan di Indonesia. Tim merupakan lulusan Universitas Bina Nusantara, jurusan Information Technology, dan telah mempunyai pengalaman di bidang teknologi untuk perusahaan seperti Mapan, Gift Card Indonesia, hingga Agung Sedayu Group. Kami persilakan kepada Bapak Timotius Rinaldo, selaku Chief Technology Officer dari Coinworks, untuk menyampaikan mengenai Securing Application and Data Inside Coinworks. Kepada Bapak Timotius Rinaldo, waktu dan tempat kami persilakan. Mohon kesediaannya untuk mengaktifkan kamera dan mikrofon. Terima kasih.
Selamat siang para panelis dan hadirin yang terhormat. Kepada Bapak Dr. Insinyur Sani Suharli sebagai Ketua Umum Asosiasi Teknologi dan Industri Security Indonesia. Terima kasih Pak atas event yang diadakan ini, dan kami dari Coinworks berterima kasih atas waktu dan kesempatan yang diberikan kepada kami untuk sharing pengalaman untuk mensecure data dan aplikasi di Coinworks. Saya akan share screen saya sebentar. Oke. Nama saya Timotius Rinaldo, saya sebagai Chief of Technology di Coinworks. Topik yang akan saya bawakan kali ini adalah tentang securing application and data di Coinworks. Oke. Pada saat mengamankan data dan aplikasi, tentu kami fokus kepada user, baik di internal maupun di eksternal Coinworks. Ada 4 guideline yang kami selalu terapkan ketika berbicara mengenai application and data security. 1, bagaimana sih cara mencegah isu terjadinya cyber attack? 2, bagaimana kami mendeteksi apakah ada gangguan di dalam sistem Coinworks, baik di web ataupun di mobile application kami. Lalu 3 adalah bagaimana nih kalau sudah terjadi attack, cyber attack tersebut. Apa yang harus kami lakukan? Standar dan operation prosedur seperti apa yang harus kami jalankan. Dan keempat adalah bagaimana kami selalu involve untuk mengurangi efek dari cyber attack. Karena seperti kita tahu bahwa cyber attack juga evolve ya, apalagi di tahun 2020, di 2021 ini juga semakin banyak cyber attack juga terhadap website atau aplikasi seperti Coinworks, seperti kami juga. Jadi bagaimana caranya kami berusaha mereduce impact dari cyber attack tersebut. Apa saja yang kami lakukan di Coinworks untuk mencegah isu-isu yang terjadi berkaitan dengan cyber attack. Pertama, kami melakukan atau menggunakan identity and access management. Ini sebenarnya lebih untuk memastikan bahwa setiap individual, kenapa saya bilang individual di sini? Karena ini berkaitan dengan user dan juga dengan employee kami. Jadi dengan adanya akses manajemen ini untuk memastikan bahwa memang individu tersebut mempunyai akses yang tepat untuk resource dan alasan yang tepat. Sebagai contoh, misalnya di Coinworks itu ada tim operation. Di tim operation itu kami punya tim risk. Nah, ketika tim risk itu akan mengakses aplikasi back office yang kami miliki, kami sudah membuat akses default apa saja yang bisa diakses, menu apa saja yang boleh diakses di level staff, kemudian di level supervisor, sampai di level C-level. Jadi dengan adanya akses manajemen ini, membantu kami juga untuk mencegah terjadinya hal-hal yang terkait dengan cyber attack. Dengan adanya akses manajemen ini, jadi kami bisa mengurangi hal-hal tersebut. Kemudian terkait dengan infrastructure security monitoring. Ini sebenarnya salah satu cara juga untuk mengidentifikasi apabila ada potensial cyber attack, terutama di infrastruktur kami, di server, di jaringan komunikasi. Jadi kami menggunakan monitoring untuk memastikan bahwa infrastruktur kami ketika misalnya ada pattern yang tidak biasa, kita biasanya suka lihat tiba-tiba ada request atau request yang banyak di waktu yang tidak biasanya, misalnya di malam hari atau di pagi-pagi hari, itu kami bisa langsung identify apakah memang itu berpotensi terhadap security breach atau cyber attack itu tetap ada, tapi kita sudah bisa cegah gitu. Jadi kami bisa identify berdasarkan pattern yang masuk ke dalam jaringan infrastruktur di Coinworks. Kemudian kami juga menerapkan engineering practice ya, dari mulai ketika kami mendevelop fitur atau produk, lalu kemudian di pipeline dari deployment kami, jadi kami memasang, kami sebutnya adalah security checking. Jadi untuk dari sisi aplikasi, apakah ada potensi terjadinya misalnya SQL injection di dalam API yang kami buat, dan sebagainya, dan itu sudah align dengan engineering practice di Coinworks untuk mencegah hal-hal yang tidak kami inginkan gitu. Lalu kemudian ini kan yang access management, infrastructure, kemudian web mobile application itu di internal kami. Lalu yang keempat adalah kami juga mengundang independent expert assessment untuk ISO 27001. Di mana hal tersebut untuk memastikan bahwa memang apa yang sudah kami lakukan, baik dari sisi penerapan teknologi ataupun dari sisi SOP, itu sudah sesuai dengan standar yang dikeluarkan oleh ISO 27001 ataupun dari sisi OJK compliance. Jadi kami tiap tahun itu pasti dilakukan audit terhadap sistem, terhadap organisasi, untuk memastikan bahwa memang yang kami lakukan, terutama ketika memprotek data-data user kami, itu sudah sesuai dengan standar yang ada di industri. Lalu yang kedua adalah yang menjadi guideline kami adalah mendeteksi isu-isu yang terjadi. Jadi yang kami lakukan ada 3 hal, yaitu selalu mengupdate antivirus kami, karena memang dari situ paling sering terdeteksi adanya misalnya malware, spyware, dan sebagainya. Jadi kami memastikan bahwa antivirus kami melakukan scanning real time dan juga terupdate. Kemudian yang kedua adalah sistem log. Kenapa? Karena kami menganggap bahwa sistem log ini sangat penting untuk melihat apa sih yang sebenarnya terjadi di infrastruktur kami ataupun yang terjadi di aplikasi kami. Karena ketika ada misalnya ketika API kami temukan bahwa request body-nya misalnya tidak sesuai dengan requirement kami bisa langsung detect bahwa ada sesuatu yang mencoba masuk ke dalam sistem kami. Kemudian sistem log ini juga terkait dengan penggunaan aplikasi-aplikasi yang ada di CoinWorks. Misalnya si employee X pada jam sekian, oh ternyata dia mengakses sistem dan apa saja yang dia lakukan, itu juga tercatat di dalam sistem log kami, atau bisa juga biasa disebut juga audit trail. Lalu kemudian yang ketiga adalah kami memasang monitoring system untuk memantau web traffic kami secara real time. Jadi membantu juga teman-teman dari DevOps dan security team kami untuk selalu memastikan bahwa infrastruktur kami, aplikasi kami dalam keadaan aman dan apabila terjadi cyber attack, kami bisa dengan cepat mengetahuinya dan mengambil tindakan selanjutnya. Lalu yang ketiga adalah bagaimana sih kalau isu itu sudah terjadi? Jadi responding terhadap isu, karena yang kami pelajari adalah sehebat-hebatnya kami memprotek sistem kami, tetap saja pasti akan ada pencobaan untuk hacking the system, gitu ya. Jadi kami juga harus ketika attack itu bisa masuk ke dalam sistem kami. Ada 2 hal yang kami terjemahkan di dalam SOP, yaitu ketika attack itu terjadi adalah kami memastikan bahwa memang breach-nya itu atau penyebabnya itu segera di handle, segera ditutup. Jadi untuk dan memastikan bahwa itu sudah stop, gitu ya. Jadi ketika terjadi isu, kami misalnya harus di-patching, kami harus patching. Ketika misalnya ada isu itu, kita harus memastikan bahwa memang ketika kami patching atau ketika kami solve the problem, kami memonitoring lagi untuk memastikan bahwa itu tidak berkelanjutan. Yang kedua, setelah kami selesai melakukan perbaikan pada sistem adalah pasti harus melakukan investigasi untuk mengetahui penyebabnya, kemudian kita melakukan efek analisis, dan kemudian adalah memastikan aksi atau tindakan-tindakan yang dilakukan itu tercatat jadi sebagai dokumentasi apabila terjadi isu tersebut dengan metode yang berbeda. Gitu. Dan apabila memang itu kami perlukan untuk dijadikan SOP, biasanya kami akan jadikan itu sebagai SOP untuk sehingga dari baik tim teknologi sendiri maupun dari tim operation sendiri tahu bahwa ketika ada isu terkait cyber attack dengan penyebab apa saja yang harus dilakukan, gitu. Prosedurnya sudah jelas dan tertulis. Dan kemudian bagaimana caranya kita mengurangi cyber attack itu ya, karena cyber attack kalau saya melihat sekarang itu bermacam-macam jalan masuknya, baik dari sistem ataupun kadang dari employee di suatu company. Makanya pertama yang selalu kami lakukan adalah raising awareness. Kenapa? Karena mungkin untuk orang yang bergerak di bidang IT sudah common gitu ya. Tapi memang kami karena tidak hanya di IT, ada orang operation, ada orang dari marketing, jadi kami merasa juga bahwa memang perlu raise awareness. Misalnya seperti apa? Sesimpel password gitu ya. Jadi kami juga mengencourage employee untuk membuat password itu sesuai dengan guideline yang kami buat. Gitu. Jadi supaya, karena ada juga yang, kami masih sempat menemukan bahwa passwordnya misalnya cuma isinya password 123 gitu, atau password malah tulisannya. Jadi di sana kami juga membuat guideline, dan itu berlaku untuk semua. Jadi untuk seluruh employee. Lalu kemudian kedua adalah action sesimpel ketika employee misalnya dia perlu keluar atau meninggalkan workstation-nya. Ada kalanya kami temukan juga ketika dia meninggalkan workstation-nya, oh dia ternyata lupa melakukan log off gitu. Sesimpel itu gitu. Padahal hal-hal tersebut kadang bisa menjadi celah untuk orang menyerang baik dari sisi data maupun dari sisi infrastructure. Jadi awareness ini selalu kami bangun baik terhadap employee yang baru join maupun terhadap employee yang sudah lama di Coinworks untuk semua departemen. Kemudian yang kedua adalah selalu memastikan bahwa tools atau framework yang terkait security itu selalu up to date gitu ya, karena dari sisi cyber attack sendiri itu kan selalu evolve ya, berkembang. Jadi kami sebisa mungkin juga selalu mengupdate security kami, baik itu antivirus ataupun tools-tools atau framework yang digunakan gitu, karena itu salah satu titik yang kritikal. Dan kemudian yang terakhir adalah backup and disaster recovery plan. Sesuai standar dari compliance juga bahwa memang kami harus membuat backup dan disaster recovery plan yang dibangun di luar primary system kami gitu ya. Jadi memang itu sudah sesuai dengan ketentuan compliance juga gitu. Jadi memang itu hal-hal yang kami lihat bisa membantu company untuk mereduce impact dari cyber attack. Ya, kurang lebih seperti itu sharing yang saya bisa bagikan dari pengalaman saya dan teman-teman tech di Coinworks. Terima kasih atas waktunya.
Terima kasih kepada Bapak Timotius Rinaldo. Selanjutnya kita akan menyaksikan video dari Red Piranha. here is a professional cybersecurity project manager. Adam has studied computer science and information security at AMTC, MIT, and Charles Sturt University. With over 20 years in professional management, a decade of those spent in the security and risk management industry, Adam has previously held position on the board of Australian-listed public companies and is the chair of the Business Development Committee of Electronic Frontiers Australia. Additionally, he is also a member of the Linux Foundation ISACA. Adam now sits at the helm of Red Piranha, Australia's only dedicated next-generation firewall manufacturer, United Threat Management Solutions. Red Piranha develops, engineers, and manufacturers advanced cybersecurity products for managed service providers and enterprises providing business with a high-end solutions at a manageable price point to fight off cybercrime, intrusions attempt, and secure their data to meet modern compliance requirements. Red Piranha's crown jewel, Crystal Eye, identified as the industry's most powerful extended detection and response, protects, detects, and responds to threat across your whole organizations, all from a single unified platform, designed from the ground up to be easy enough for enterprises to use and powerful enough for MSPs to see a major game changer when compared against competitors in the industry. Next, we will invite Mr. Adam Bennett, Chief Executive Officer from Red Piranha, to present about XDR, Extended Detections and Response, the next generation of cybersecurity. Mr. Adam Bennett, we are pleased to have you here. The room is yours. Please activate the camera and also the microphone. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for having me here today. And I'll just share my slides. And hopefully everybody can see that now. Beautiful. Yeah, thanks for having us. It looks like some great turnout today, and thanks to everybody involved for putting this event together. And I'm proud and honoured to be here today to talk about a new market segment, I suppose. Gartner's now calling this the new leading way to deal with cybersecurity, and we're proud to say that we played a part in inventing this market segment and pioneers in this space. And I'll talk a little bit about today why it was important and how that came about. XDR, it stands for the X factor in cybersecurity, really. It is about that advanced detection and response, and it's based off the concept that we're never going to stop all the cybersecurity attacks. It is impossible. We can do what we can to protect as best as possible, but we need to be prepared to defend against attacks once they have actually taken place. And we're helping protect the world from cybersecurity threats by making, as was quite rightly pointed out, high-grade security available for every business, large and small. That was my passion, to bring security to everybody, and we're now providing that across some 400 partners in 50 plus countries across defence, education, financial, government, health and pharmaceuticals. We're part of Team Defence Australia. We are founded out of Australia, but we have a footprint now in 6 offices around the world and partners like Professor Tama in Indonesia. We've been working with our Indonesian friends for a number of years now. And I can't wait for COVID to be over so we can get up there and obviously work together more. We're only one of 2 companies in Australia licensed defence exports. We're ISO 27000 certified, and we've been nominated for a number of awards as well as creating a new market segment. So why did XDR come about? And it came about essentially due to these constraints that you see here on this table, and that is, we have insufficient personnel. We don't have enough money to throw at the problem. A lot of people really just don't understand how to defend and how to respond to cyber attacks properly as well across the board. And we have insufficient enabling security technologies to deal with cybersecurity holistically across from a total program. And of course, if we're going to start looking at multiple vendors to solve this problem, to plug these in together, we then create a new problem of that lack of in-house expertise across multiple vendor issues. And of course, you have this continuing problem too of the threat landscape is changing continuously. You know, the threats are changing each day. As the video quite rightly said, there's over 250,000 new strains of malware spawned every day. And integrated platforms like XDR allow for further automation in dealing with cybersecurity, and they allow people to scale. It allows us to focus on the security problem and not the DevSecOps or the DevOps problem of making security products work and talk to each other. So we get to focus on dealing with security, not the challenges around putting a security program together. And if we look at a security program, and it was great to see in the last speaker's talk there how he was talking holistically about BCM and business continuity management. But there's 7 key pillars that I like to focus in on when talking to organizations, and that is we need to have strong GRC and policy management. We need to have a buy-in from the top. And then, of course, once that organization has bought into making cybersecurity better, we need to make sure our staff are aware. So things like acceptable app usage, making sure that we say, these technologies are what the company's using, for example. Now the staff know their responsibilities of defending this organization, your organization, against attacks, and making sure that they're aware of things even in HR, making sure we have good termination policies so that insider threats are less of a problem. So once we've got that strategy in place at the top and all our key people in our organization aware and knowing about their responsibilities, we then need to set up our networks correctly. Identity and access management, network segmentation. We need to, the cloud essentially over the last 10 years has caused this problem where everyone thinks, we'll just put stuff in the cloud and we won't set up a network properly. And of course, this has led to an explosion in vulnerable databases being exposed online, just from something as simple as default credentials used in certain database types and things like that. Once we've set up our network properly and segmented and separated marketing from accounts and reduced the risk of threats being attacked across the organization, we need to then continually scan and do vulnerability management on these environments that we set up. We cannot rely on yearly pen tests. A pen test or a vulnerability test done once a year is only as good as the point of time it's done. Once we do a pen test, every day after that penetration test is done, or the vulnerability management is carried out or scanning, it becomes weaker and weaker and less, I suppose, sort of important to that organization, because there's so many new vulnerabilities discovered every day that essentially it only takes days before a potential vulnerability in that organization is then, of that technology is then found, and that vulnerability is then putting that organization at risk. So we need to not do this once a year, but do this monthly or quarterly as part of a general compliance program. And the only way you can do that is through a level of automation that allows that to happen. You need to monitor all this. So this is again where XDR comes into play. It's got integrated SIM and MDR built into the platform with the playbooks for incident response built in as well. Once we do the monitoring, it's no point monitoring logs and doing things there and monitoring systems if we don't have a team and the tools there to be able to respond efficiently. And that's what XDR brings to the table. And of course, we already heard before about BCM, but business continuity management and disaster recovery. There's backups. And a backup system is not a backup system if it's not tested. So just putting something somewhere else doesn't make it a backup system. And the amount of digital forensics and incident response we deal with as a company, where Dropbox has been used and malware's got into that so-called backup system, and then because of the way Dropbox works, it's just sync the malware across the whole organization. That is not a backup system. Putting something in a separate file system is not a backup system. It is a system that needs to be tested, and you need to be able to restore to that. So what we have in the industry here is over the last 30 years, you've got essentially cybersecurity vendors only dealing with the customers or building products for the customers that existed in the cybersecurity space. And this was the very high end of town, defense, banks, and the companies that could afford it. 90% of organizations around the world didn't really start looking at cybersecurity until the threat landscape started to change over a decade ago. And that means as our uptake of technology increased, so too did the threats, and so too did the damage and loss and the risk to organizations. We see now organizations closing down when they get hacked for business, essentially. So what happened over 30 years is the product landscape, the vendors that existed out there were specialized for certain industry types. And this created a landscape where we didn't really have technology to deal with security for all organizations. And hence, this is why we invented Crystal XDR some years ago. It is a unified platform, and it incorporates all those things that you'd expect in a full security program, like vulnerability management, integrated risk management. Threat intelligence is fed back in. We process over 20 million IOCs, indicators of compromise, each day, back into the platform for what we call AAI, Automatic Actionable Intelligence, which is then used to defend your organization. And we've got a trademarked eCISO, which is an electronic CISO compliance, integrated risk management program built into the platform and allows us to deploy out. And that's become very popular in the last 12 months as organizations are being dealt with things like third-party risk questionnaires and programs from companies that they supply to. It's got, of course, your firewall, your intrusion detection and protection built in, world-class intrusion detection protection systems, your secure web gateways, secure email gateways. We've introduced at Crystal 4.0 endpoint protections as well, your SD-WAN, application whitelisting at a networking level as well, very powerful there to make sure that you only run applications on appliances or devices that you allow that to happen. And of course, then you've got your integrated detection, response, and recovery technologies. And I won't go through them all on this slide because we'd be here for 4 hours, but that capability to be able to respond and deal with incidents immediately with things like packet captures and digital forensics, which we're able to integrate right in out of the box. And this reduces the risk, reduces time, and reduces cost to an organization. The platform spreads, and it has to spread. If you're going to put a security program in play, you need to be able to protect your organization across the whole operational landscape. So what that means is you've got remote workers or you've got roaming workers like sales staff. You've got cloud. You need CNSP, which is your cloud native security platform, which we're releasing now with new partners every month to be able to protect cloud environments. And you've got your on-premise. Don't ever forget about your on-premise because that's where you need to deploy to get protection on-premise. But you need to link these things up and create a zero trust environment or a protected environment for your whole organization to operate in, essentially. And then, of course, we have what we call our SDN, our Service Delivery Network, which incorporates the threat intelligence, the CSOC, the CE Security Operations Center, and GRC, IRM, and orchestration. And that's about 130 systems in the back end. There, we have made-to-order appliances, of course, which allow for high-level, high-speed traffic throughput scanning here. So some countries around the world, like Singapore, for example, all the businesses are at 1 gigabit traffic, and we're able to deploy high-speed scanning at reasonable prices for those organisations that need high-speed scanning. And as we develop our Australia and Indonesia develop its technology stack and delivery of internet to the people, businesses will increase these speeds over time. And we're currently outpacing in the world speeds of growth in networks about 6-to-1 to security scanning. We currently hold the record in IDPS throughput scanning as well at 60 gigabits in a 2U server rack for IDPS scanning. So that's quite a remarkable achievement for our region, and we like to hold that going forward. As I said, we have the CNSP, which is the Cloud Native Security Platform, and that is about deploying in cloud environments locally, getting what's called a SASE or a secure edge locally to the environment to be able to protect staff or cloud organization or cloud parts of that operational structure of an organization. We've introduced obviously multi-tenanted security policy management in 4.0 as well, which is really important. That allows multiple policy sets to be get that real good segmentation that we talked about within a network environment, and of course, and start to get visual visualization about what's happening across your whole operational footprint. So that means once we get that visibility across an operational footprint of the organization, we can then protect that organization and respond to incidents in that organization. We introduced the endpoints as well. We now have a number of endpoints with the SD-WAN connecting back into the system, all being upgraded. We have our compliance endpoint, which is really loved. I was in Canberra last week in Australia, which is our capital city here, and they have a requirement here, a very high level, what's called Information Security Manual requirement, ISM, which is a very high lockdown of Windows devices, for example. And currently it takes an admin, a good admin, about half a day to lock down that environment for each device. So not many people get it done. We've built an app that allows this lockdown at a very high level, so it's very defense grade, and it can now take 5 minutes, and that can be pushed out through the organization. And what it does is it protects those endpoints, those devices like Windows laptops, for example, from attack, and locks them down at the highest level that you can get. We have our SIM, our MDR endpoints now brought in, which extends the MDR and SIM capabilities from NIDs to HIDs as well, allows data collection from third-party sort of collecting sources. We have a digital forensics endpoints now allowing us to do even RAM forensics remotely from our SOCs that are located around the world. And it really does extend that capability of the monitoring to specialized hosts involved in that environment as well. We have our Security Operations Center, which, again, this is about that integration in the product. The way you get efficiencies is by automation, and you can't do that if you have multiple data sources. Anyone who's worked with data knows that if you are trying to force data across an environment and into different sort of data lakes, you might say, it makes it very difficult to start to automate these things, and that leads into the AI ops program as well, and machine learning. What we have is a centralized data lake, which allows that data being processed from endpoint to on-premise to cloud into CSOC, that allows efficiencies to be created along the way because of the integrated nature, which basically means we can deal with more data, we can do more with it, and we can automate more of the Security Operations Center. And this is key in XDR. This is one of the key benefits. It reduces cost in deployment. You no longer need huge teams, DevSecOps teams, to make the multiple feature sets work together. And then that's where you end up spending all your time. And from that centralized and integrated and data normalization process, you get efficiencies in the dealing with that data and automation around security operations, which is another key factor in scaling our security people. Everybody in security knows now, the people problem is a big deal. We keep throwing more people at security, yet our technology is expanding more rapidly than we can find the skilled people to do the job. Well, throwing more people at that problem is the opposite of scalability. We need to be smarter. We need to change how we're doing security. And this is what XDR and Crystal and the Security Operations Center and that integration does. It starts to bring all that together. From that data normalization too, what you start to get here is us starting to be able to deal as a team with our partners and ourselves with integrated risk management. We can start to take that data and remove elicitation processes. I told you about the endpoint app a little while ago being able to lock down a Windows device. Well, it sends that compliance status back to the Crystal platform. And now if we need to run a report which says what devices are running what controls, we can spin this up automatically. And this is a very powerful thing, because anybody who's ever been in a GRC or done auditing, for example, knows that elicitation or the process of gathering that evidence to find out what's going on is actually a large part of that cost and management burden in the process. If we can get this compliance data live, if we can get it on hand, we remove that burden and we increase our risk management processes here, tenfold, essentially, hundreds of fold. It's incredible how much efficiency we can get out of that. And the same with ongoing vulnerability management. We are able to essentially get this data ongoing and stop attacks with that information very quickly. We can even run it down, run through virtual patching in the IDPS through this information, which is great for OT, operational technology environments, and those environments that have legacy systems that can't be updated, yet we need to protect them. In fact, I was doing a media interview just before this session, and one of the conversations from it was a tech interview. We're talking about the universal plug and play protocols that are out there and the threats that they cause. And we've seen recently some third-party risk scenarios, you know, in the wild where this has caused a major havoc in organizations. And how can that be stopped? You know, how do we stop user error causing our organizations to essentially fall victim to this process? Well, virtual patching allows that to happen. We can detect that early, we can block it without shutting that down, remove the risk from the organization until it can be investigated. And with the efficiencies in the technology, we can investigate that very quickly as well and determine if this is actually a risk or not, if this is a hack. And the faster we get onto that, the faster we can actually remove that loss and risk in an organization and prevent things like data exfiltration and that information getting out, prevent things like financial loss and everything there. We've gone through a number of analysts. We've been working with Gartner very hard now as well over the last few years into literally defining this market segment called XDR. Some of you might have heard about it already. If not, you'll be hearing a lot more about it. And yes, we did invent this. And that's been backed up by Palo Alto recently making $1.5 billion US acquisitions to try and move into this space. And that's a very validating sort of move there that shows that this is going to be the next big sector when it comes to cybersecurity. This is the way forward. And if I could explain it simply like this, I mean, I am a foundation member of the Linux Foundation and I love Linux, but cybersecurity is much like the operating systems of the world. You have the Linux system there, which is a build your own model for users. Anybody who uses that knows you've got to pretty much knock up your own operating system and make it yourself. Then Windows came along and simplified that, and that gives you a bit of flexibility, but for everybody, Windows is still not the thing. Then Apple came along and integrated computing, home computing and business computing into that single Apple environment, and you don't need to worry about drivers, but it won't work without many other things. Well, I see security in the pathway of the Unix, Windows, Apple environment very similar. We're still at the Unix, some Windows environment with cybersecurity. Well, XDR starts to move into that Apple environment, that integration where it can now be used by anybody out of the box, and it brings security to everybody, and it's scalable to large organizations. This is the key factor. Those benefits we get at the SMB or the small or medium enterprise are exactly the same in larger enterprise. In fact, they're greater because we get that cost reduction, that management burden on staff, that ability to partner with IT teams in dealing with security, that live information, and we get to get those efficiencies out. Look, I was told I was talking to 25 minutes. I think it's about 25 minutes. So I'm happy to take lots of questions and talk about security or XDR for everybody. If anybody has any questions for me. Thank you very much for letting me speak.
Thank you, Mr. Adam, for your wonderful insight. Saat ini kita akan membuka sesi tanya-jawab yang ditujukan untuk Mr. Adam. Jika ada pertanyaan, dapat dicantumkan di kolom Q&A. For now, we will open question and answer for Mr. Adam. If any of you have question, you can drop it on question and answer box so I can see it. Okay, we have a question already. The first one is from Mr. Tony, CSI. The question is, our organization has endpoint security implemented. What are the steps for us to expand into full XDR implementation? Thank you.
Thank you, Tony, from CSI. Look, great question. Not sure exactly what endpoints you have running at the moment, but typically, I mean, a lot of us over the years I've been around, have been running antivirus type endpoints for some time. Look, XDR doesn't look to replace that, but the simple fact remains, I mean, antivirus is still a great tool. We need it. We can't get rid of it from a holistic security program. It needs to be there. But the problem with it is that it's easy to evade. If you go and ask the CEO of Sophos, for example, he will tell you that it's still good for protecting around about 15% of threats. If you go and ask a security professional who really gets into antivirus and malware detection, they'll tell you 5%. If you ask me, just for argument's sake today, I'll say 10% in the middle. But what does that? Where does that leave the other 90% of threats? You probably need to look at this from a more holistic program and say, all right, well, I'm going to keep running my antivirus. Does that give me detection and response capability from that? Possibly not, although some EDR technologies out there are offering MDR on top of the EDR now, the managed detection and response capability. But look at XDR within your infrastructure layer. The only way we can really protect ourselves is, yes, endpoints, and we have our endpoint apps as well, but is really delving into that infrastructure layer. And the reason for this is these days there's so many attack vectors. You know, you've got OT, you've got bring your own devices from staff, you know, staff coming into environments with their own mobile phones, bringing malware into your environment. Well, endpoints aren't going to protect you there. You've got fridges and I've seen somebody hacked by a barbecue, of all things. There was a casino not long ago which got hacked through the thermometer in a fish tank. This type of attack vector is only going to increase. We've only just started this, and it's that exponential uptake on these things is only making things worse. So while I say if you've got endpoints, keep them. Have a look at how those endpoints interact back into a network-based XDR program like ours. But where our endpoints are designed to work alongside your antivirus endpoint, for example. So our compliance endpoint, for example, works a little bit different. It's not using a rule engine on the device to detect malware. It's actually using the operating system itself to lock that operating system down to the highest level of compliance so that malware won't work on that operating system. So it's a different approach to how we attack the problem. I would say still run your antivirus if that's what you're talking about from an endpoint, and I'm having to make some assumptions here, but you need to start layering up more and more security here. It's all about the more layers you can get in, and we call it a defense in depth program when it comes to security. The more layers you can get in, the safer you're going to be. And then, of course, the XDR component of that is about making sure you have that detection and response capability built into your organization too. Not just the detection. So not just don't fall for, I suppose, cheap alternatives to the MDR program, because the incident response component of that is key too. It's not just about getting an email saying we think you've been hacked. That's just like getting another alarm. It's about having the tools in that platform to do the incident response immediately, to get the forensics, to do the packet capture analysis, for example, to be able to do that forensic analysis process quickly and efficiently to reduce costs, but also to stop those attacks spreading throughout an organization and doing real damage and loss. And I hope I answered your question there for you, Tony.
Thank you, Mr. Adam. Next, for the second questions, comes from Mr. Faisal from Marindo Elang Perkasa. The question is, did you have experience for security breach at your clients? How deep and how long you need to overcome the breach? Thank you.
Good question. We've seen a massive rise in breaches. Yes, we do. This is one of our specialties as a company. We pride ourselves on what we call our DFIR services. We do have specialists in the company at our Security Operations Centre, particularly because we do, through the XDR program, have the technology in there that allows us to deal with incident response within organisations. And so then companies have come to us as well outside of our XDR program for us to do manual incident response capabilities. And look, we've just dealt with 4 incidents in the last 24 hours in our organisation for companies in Australia, for example. How deep and how long you need to overcome the breach? Look, the way we usually deal with it depends on the size and the complexity of that network environment. we usually like to work on what we call a discovery phase period, where we want to get engagement. So this is outside of XDR. XDR has the benefits of we already have that engagement with a company. And what that means is our record for dealing with a breach with XDR is 24 minutes, which is unheard of. You cannot do that without XDR. We've been able to detect and respond and close out, including the situation report, the report to the end client, within 24 minutes. And that includes also if you've got the integrated risk management for that compliance part, that going back to compliance as well. If we take a look at the manual cybersecurity frameworks and the manual incident response, how deep, you first have to go through an engagement process with an organization, and this is paperwork and contracts, and that takes time. All that time, builds up. So there's a day to get that paperwork done. If you're quick, if both companies are quick, you've got non-disclosure agreements, you've got a contract because you're going to be accessing systems and it's got to be done right. We're an ISO certified company, we're a defense assessed company. So we have processes involved in how we deal with that. Then, for instance, if we want to run a packet capture on that network, how do we do that without XDR? We have to roll in a black box and what we call tap into that network, and we have to gather data of what's happening on that network. And that can take, depending on the size of an organization, a couple of days to weeks. So if of course, you've got your engagement program, you've got your data collection program here, all of a sudden in the manual program, it could be weeks before we're even analyzing data correctly for an organization in the old world, in the old way of doing things. And this is why XDR is so important. We could be doing a packet capture in that environment that same day, instantly. Hit the button, schedule them, and all of a sudden our SOC team is working with that incident response. So when it comes down to that, how long to overcome, we usually work through this discovery phase where we try and assess the initial attack vector, or at least get an idea of what we're dealing with, what type of malware it is, what type of, how did it get in? It's not always possible to find, specifically in larger complex environments, it's not always easy to find that initial attack vector, the initial point of entry in the first day, of course. And this is where you start to roll out your other processes like packet capture analysis on different network segments. We might run snapshots of traffic, and we have systems in our SOCs that allows our teams to fly through this traffic in 3D, for instance, like a video game, and our team can sort of hunt down the bad guys that way. And that's all automated. So it's not an easy question to answer there on how long, because in a small environment, it can take hours. In a larger environment, it can take weeks. But the beauty about XDR, again, is we can speed this up 20, 30 times faster because the tools are already built into the platform. So you can escalate forensics directly to the SOC for an initial indicator viewpoint. We already also have the data on how the network is structured at the click of a button. Once that's been engaged by our customer with a button, we can see, we don't have to learn the network. We can see what's happening in that environment very quickly. And if we need to run PCAPs, again, within seconds, we can be scheduling PCAPs. And same day, we can be doing what would take 3 weeks potentially in the manual process. And this reduces costs because often with that advanced detection capability too, you're often seeing the indicators early. And what we want to do here is still the average dwell time, as we call it, the time it takes to detect a hacker in most organizations is between 12 and 18 months. We're able to get this right down to minutes and days. And what that does is means, because hacking is not like the movies, you're not flying down the street hacking street lights to get away from the police, right? It's automated scripts, and attackers will look for vulnerable systems. They'll get an initial indicator or hook point on a certain vulnerable system, then they'll pivot back into the organization, and this takes time. So what we want to do is catch them in that first hook point and get them out there, and then of course that stops the loss and the risk. So if we can get them out early, we can reduce the actual damage done. And of course, it's a lot cheaper to do it that way because you're dealing with a lot less forensics. So when you talk about how long, well, if we've got to deal with a year's worth of forensics just to get back to the original point of the original attack vector, that's very time consuming, that's very costly, a lot of man hours or human hours involved in that, analyst hours, and of course the cost is through the roof. If we can do this only for the last 24 hours or the last 2 days, all of a sudden your cost in dealing with that breach is a lot less, and your exposure to risk, your potential for loss or damage is a lot less as well. Hope I answered your question there.
Thank you, Mr. Adam. I still have one question. The last one comes from Mr. Medici Sudira from Kawan Lama. The question is, if we already have next generation firewall, if using Red Piranha solution, will it be overlapping? Thank you.
It's a good question, and we deal with this every day. You have a lot of networks which have products already in that environment, and the networks are, obviously running and fine. And yes, you can run our deployment could be deployed in multiple ways. It can be deployed as a full gateway, next generation firewall deployment, doing routing, segmentation, that whole thing, or it can run in a WAF mode in a cloud environment, or it can run in what we call an NSM or network security monitoring mode. Alongside other next generation firewalls and infrastructure products. I suppose the only thing you want to consider there, so yes, it can overlap into that. The only thing you need to consider there, of course, is the segmentation in the network. You need to make sure that Crystaleye is on certain components of a network. So if you already have segmentation, you might have to have a few different deployments around, very similar to what you'd think about with an IDPS type structure in a network that has other gateway firewalls. And that allows the full gamut of technology and feature set to be deployed. Obviously, if you've got things blocking other things, that won't work on that network segment over there. So yes, it does work alongside other products, and our design team can obviously help with that in deploying and making sure we get the full feature set. Of course, over time, a lot of customers of ours will essentially sometimes replace those other firewalls as they come up and just utilize the firewall feature set in the XDR platform, which is also fine with us too.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Adam, for your time and wonderful answers.
My pleasure.
Selanjutnya kita akan menyaksikan video dari Somansa. Our next speaker is already working for 8 years at Somansa Corporation in Korea that specializes in security. He have an experience working for US branch of Somansa for 6 months in 2016 and in charge of overseas marketing since 2016. As a major career, played the role of PM in many projects for global company such as Samsung and LG Electronics, personal information protection projects, and many other experiences. In addition, marketing activities in various regions, including the Philippines, Ukraine, Malaysia, Hong Kong, and India. Next, we will invite Mr. Dobi Duyop Kim as Global Business Manager from Somansa to present about gain expert insight and strategies to solve your security challenge. Mr. Kim, we are pleased to have you here. The room is yours. Please activate the camera and also the microphone. Thank you.
Selamat ketemu. Hello, this is Toby from Somansa, Global Security Manager, and I'm the one who are going to present this session. And I will share my screen first. Okay, so nice to meet you, everyone. It's the first time participating in events in Indonesia, and so I'm feel a little nervous. So please understand if my voice is shaking during the session. First of all, I'm honored to be able to take in this forum, and I'd like to thank to everyone invited us. And the topic of this session, what I will present is DLP. DLP is data loss prevention and is now commercialized worldwide. Although Somansa is just about to start the business in Indonesia, I hope this session will serve as an opportunity to promote Somansa's DLP solution. So let me start the company introduction first. Somansa Corporation was established in 1996 and has 24 years of experience and #1 market share in Korea data loss prevention monitoring solutions. So let's take a look at the global award. So first of all, it is most trusted Gartner Magic Quadrant. Somansa became the first Asia company to be listed on the Gartner Magic Quadrant in 2016 to 2017. The reason there has been no history since 2018 is that the DLP market has already been activated and the DLP category has disappeared. If there were still categorized about DLP, Somansa would have been listed every year. So that's the feedback of the customers. Customers have very positive feedback about Somansa support and its rapid resolution of issues. Next is the CRM. The Somansa won the 5 stars in 2019 Channel Partner Program. This is for companies with good business process with partners, and for Symantec and McAfee, that is a global security company, has got 4.5 stars. So as a magazine from UK, Somansa is 5 stars, and as media is cybersecurity, and they live with it for 30 years. The sharing industry, expert guidance and insights, and thus feature and timely news and independent product reviews in various content forms in partnership with and for top-level information security executives and their technical teams. Next is the Forrester research. So the Somansa is named in the Forrester Vendor Landscape Report, and it is listed top 10 DLP and top 7 content-aware DLP. So next is I will show you who are using our Somansa products. So in the North American, the SEC, the Standard Chartered, and eBay, Telos, Citibank, and AIA Live, and South American, and OXO, and Bellatour, and Europe, LG Electronics, the CJ, and Asia, at Samsung, Inspiro, TV5, Signal, and in Korea, and Samsung, Hyundai, LG, POSCO, and many global companies are already using the products. So Somansa has over 2,000 worldwide customers, from large enterprises to small, medium businesses. So, due to the COVID-19 outbreak, more employees than ever working remotely. So, companies are concerned about establishing a security policy for working from home and working from office post. So, before pandemic, we just care about only working from office users. But after starting pandemic, the employees that was going to move office to home, so we have to care about both office and working from home. Then we have a endpoint, and let's take a look at the security hole from the endpoint device. There are a variety of ways in which personal PCs can be leaked. For example, copying the files to USB, printing, and file sharing with Bluetooth and Google Drive as cloud system, and Facebook Messenger, and through the email. So I'm suggesting the company need to build a privacy life cycle when they're working from home. So step one is that you should verify how many personal or confidential files are stored on each device. And if necessary, sensitive files should be encrypted or destroyed. The step two is that if the personal information is leaked through various channels, it should be detected and controlled to prevent. Lastly, you should be able to audit these acts to know that who was tried to transfer the files. So the organization need to implement the solution to meet these three steps of a privacy life cycle. So this is our product lineup. So we have two different kind of products. One is Privacy Eye endpoint DLP, and another is the Mail Eye network DLP. So our marketing strategy is we have two different kind of model. The first is on-premise, another is cloud service. So it is very flexible to implement how many employees the companies they have. So we can select the different model. So this is a structural product. So on-premise, we are going to implement. So Privacy Eye is implement just it can be communicated with the server and endpoint DLP. So that's all. Then we can control every devices by the Privacy Eye. And for the Mail Eye is a network DLP solution. So Mail Eye should be implemented with the proxy mode. So usually it is it should be between the firewall and the backbone switch. So that's the cloud service. So as you know, there are many global cloud service platform like Amazon Cloud or Microsoft Azure. But Somansa has our own cloud service platform. So you don't need to care about the hardware or any kind of infrastructure of the cloud service. So just communication is okay. We can provide it, everything. So let's take a look at the features of the Privacy Eye and the pointed TLP first. So the copy prevent, that is when user try to copy some sensitive or personal data to USB or external hard drive. It can be controlled by Privacy Eye. So I have prepared some short video clip how it works with the copy prevent of the Privacy Eye. So this PC has the credit card number. And put the USB. This is a removable disk. And this sensitive file copy and paste is blocked by Privacy Eye because this file has many credit card numbers. That's why it was blocked by the Privacy Eye policy. So another way, just drag and drop to USB. It can be blocked by Privacy Eye again. And the next feature is the upload prevent. So when user try to upload the file to the Viber, WhatsApp, the Facebook, and many kinds of network application to the web browser, it can be blocked by Privacy Eye as well. So let me show a short video clip about upload prevent. So these employees try to upload file to Gmail. It is blocked by Privacy Eye because, yes, right, it has credit card numbers. So that's why it was blocked. And same drag and drop again, and it's still blocked by Privacy Eye because it is against the policy that made by administrator from the security, so it can be controlled. So these are the protocols that we are supporting. So webmail at Gmail, Yahoo, and Facebook, and Google Drive, and the other kinds of protocols that we are providing. So there are many network protocol in the world. But so we have the still developing and research to put into our solution. So next is print prevent. So it's the same process. When employees print the files containing confidential information, it can be controlled by Privacy Eye. So let me take a short video clip again. So open this file, and it has the credit card number again, and it can be blocked by Privacy Eye. So next is the features of the Mail-Eye Network DLP. So Mail-Eye can catch the traffic from the users who can use the internet. The Mail-Eye analyze the traffic and follow the policy. So Mail-Eye protects the sensitive data and personal information by monitoring data in motion. email, cloud services, IM, SNS, TRS. So let's take a video clip again. So it is different from the Privacy Eye because he put some keyword on the body of the email that it will be blocked by the mail eye. So that's the different the way from the Privacy Eye. Yes, test is allowed, but secret is not allowed. That's the policy of the mail eye. So this secret keyword on the attachment and try to upload, and attachment failed. And we tried to still failed. So let's take the protocols that the mail eye can support now. So SMTP, POP3, IMAP, and this is webmail. So Yahoo, Office 365, and QQ Mail, and instance messaging is Skype, the Facebook Messenger, Yahoo Voice, Google Talk, and social network service, so Facebook, and the Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and file storage and sharing. So Google Drive, iCloud, the Box or OneDrive, and we are supporting the well-known network application. So what's the strengths of the Sumansa product compared with other competition? So first is integrity management console. So as I mentioned before, we have two different types of products. The one is endpoint DLP and another is network DLP. But we can provide central management. It is different products, but just one view. So all products can be managed by one central console. And if there is only one endpoint to a network, it will be possible to get the security hole. So actually, there are some companies that have already endpoint and network DLP, but they are providing the management console to each product. It means the client have to manage just the two different console, but Sumansa is just providing just one management console with two products. And next is no additional cost for software license. So our operating system is CentOS. It is Linux based, and big data search engine is Elasticsearch, and DBMS with the PostgreSQL, which doesn't violate the license. So you don't need to worry about additional cost about software license. Okay, and next is just like features of the strengths. So let's tell Limbo 5. So this feature is that we have the function that can register USB list that you want to use with allow. So if the USB is unauthorized USB, it can be used. But if the authorized USB, it can be used. It means that the employees bring if the employees bring their USB from home, it cannot be used. So that's just one of our strong points. and another is fast search and report big data. Return search results in max 3 minutes. So our product has the big data search engine, which name is Elasticsearch. So it is very fast to search, so we can return the result in a few minutes. And we have approval process with additional cost, without additional cost. So when employees try to transfer some files that contains sensitive or personal information, but our policy is blocked, but he really need to transfer this file. In case of that, we are providing the approval process. So the ones get permission from their approval, it can be allowed. That's our approval process without additional cost. And support and add a variety of customization patterns. So we have already provided the various patterns that conform to GDPR already, and custom patterns can be added through user-defined pattern with keyword-based or label expressions-based. So these are the patterns, sample patterns that we are supporting now. So all kinds of the GDPR pattern, and we have a global pattern like HIPAA, PSI, DSS, and credit card, passport, a phone number, and email and IP address. An important thing is that clients want to use their own patterns like employees number or the number of the paper. Then they can add their own pattern with a keyword and the legal expressions. Okay, so this is the last slide, the case study, company in the Philippines. So they are using our endpoint DLP and network DLP both, and also on-premise and cloud service as well. So background is they were using the Privilege Eye and Mail Eye as on-premise, and the company was concerned about potential loss of confidential and sensitive data as per working place has been moved to home. So this section is for the on-premise scope. So in the on-premise scope, we have Privilege Eye and Mail Eye both. So Mail Eye server was implemented to monitor the SMTP logging from the span port. And working from home office are controlled by Privilege Eye with on-premise. And for the working from home, if to connect to their internal network, they have to use the VPN for SMTP. And so if they try to use the email with SMTP, it can be logged by Mail-I for SMTP. And this scope is the cloud service. So if working from home, usually try to copy or print or upload some confidential data or sensitive data, it can be controlled by Privilege Eye cloud service. And in case of the webmail, the traffic goes to Mail-I first with proxy configuration, and it can be logged by Mail-I with cloud, even HTTPS traffic. So that's the very important thing is that there is no any security holes, so nobody can data leakage from working from home or working from office. The both side we can cover Privilege Eye network endpoint DLP and BLI network DLP both. Okay, so thank you for taking time my presentation. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Mr. Dobi Duyop Kim, for your wonderful presentations. Selanjutnya kita akan menyaksikan video dari Uniview. Our next speaker has experience in technical security and joined as Zhejiang Province Police Security Experience, leading huge social CCTV into police dedicated one-way network, 6 years Southeast Asia project experience, enhanced Uniview CCTV business in Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and Cambodia. Next, we will invite Mr. Tom Su as head of Indonesia project team from Uniview to present about better security, better world. Mr. Tom Su, we are pleased to have you here. The room is yours. Please activate the camera and also the microphone. Thank you.
Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, halo Simaraya, saya Tom dari Uniview. Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Tom, work for Uniview. Today I'm very happy to have a presentation to you to introduce Uniview and the Uniview technology. Okay, Uniview is a pioneer and the leader of IP video surveillance. It aims to be a great solution provider of global public security and intelligent transportation. Uniview now is the third largest player of China video surveillance market. At the same time, we are number 4 in global market. Our aim is to be a global leader in video surveillance industry, which to build a safe world, safe Indonesia by providing professional, reliable, and cut-edge products and service. Uniview HQ located in Hangzhou City in Zhejiang Province, where there are total 5,500 employees, and at the same time, the 50% are R&D employees. There are 6 R&D centers in China. There are 140 countries business all over the world. And the Uniview producing center is in Jiaxing City, totally 300,000 meters square size of the factory. Every year, Uniview produced millions of products to all over the world. Okay, let me introduce Uniview's milestone. Uniview started business since 2005. At that moment, Uniview was a department of HP. So Uniview was born with IT technology genius. With our business growing fast, Uniview founded independently in 2011, and it only takes 1 year to become number 3 of China. In 2014, Uniview stepped into overseas market, and in 2019, Uniview created an office in Jakarta, in Soho capital. And in future, Uniview will keep growing our team in Indonesia to provide a better service in Indonesia. So in past 15 years, Uniview staff grows 10 times. Uniview sales revenue grows 16 times. Okay, this map is Uniview's exclusive suggested understanding for this business. Because Uniview has complete IT industry background, so that we can put forward the map theorem. The one size is the security, another size is IT. So Uniview will provide C understand, C securely, C smartly, C widely, and C clearly. Nowadays, the video surveillance is not only a camera to provide your image, provide your playback function. Not only this, video surveillance should be together with IT, such as big data, such as cloud computing, such as deep learning. And Uniview is the top manufacturer with complete product line and solution in the world. Uniview have all series of cameras, recorders, display, the switch, the management server, the software, the conference, and also to facing the COVID-19, Uniview launched the temperature measurement device to fighting the COVID-19. Okay, Uniview was the first company in security industry who signed strategic partnership agreement with German Rhineland to work on the certification about product privacy protection delivered from General Data Protection Regulation. Now Uniview has passed a Rhineland test and is honored to be the first certification in ATISI with GDPR in the global video surveillance industry. We can see that there are many features of the security. For example, virus authorization methods such as A01.1x ATSP and on way to identify credible clients to access. Complete illegal logging protection rules show that importing wrong password 5 times will trigger illegal logging alarm. The device will be locked for 10 minutes to prevent illegal logging attempts. Password security level depends on the types of the area network. Black and white list can be configured to forbid or allow some clients to access device. Watermarks can be used to verify the authorized or integrity of the video or to show the identity of its owners. Uniview has secured architectures as well, embeds operation system and multi-network protection ensure our data security. Uniview also have a lot of highlight features. to protect users' data, such as ANA technologies, SD card from edge storage, uploading video in NVIDIA recorder after network connection. Also, Uniview has a backup power design that once the power adapter is power off, the camera still can power by another way, PoE, to make sure the camera is 24 hours running, make zero data losing. Network disconnection detection to the Uniview device will detect the network and automatically reset network or reset IPC once network disconnection detected. Also, a lot of very easy to use functions such as one-click download or upload configuration to configure the huge quantity of cameras. One-click output diagnose log to help do the troubleshooting. So Uniview's video surveillance solution is not very hard or very complicated solution that end users can learn it and install it, configure it very quickly, easy to use. So because Uniview is a professional in video surveillance industry, so Uniview has a lot of technology to make sure users' data safely, such as NGN design, new generation network design together with iSCSI protocol. No matter Uniview device connecting Uniview own software server or with third-party software or servers, the compatibility and the stability is guaranteed. And the RED technology is popular in the industry, and the Uniview has the URED technology with much more data security level on the recording, such as the stripped film and disk film, RED film, storage node film, the protection. And the RED NT technology is a new technology to help building the data in a very short time. So Uniview will guarantee never lose a second of the video data. Not only the feature I introduced, but also there are a lot of storage data protection features, such as 40 section repair, cache data safe box, copy rebuild, nonsense partial rebuilding, smart pre-copy technology, to level of remap. So powerful RED engine and ways of data security technology make a great improvement on data reliability. Never lose a second of the video data. And the Uniview's slogan is better security, better world. And I hope in the near future, Uniview can make more contribution to Indonesia market to provide a better Indonesia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Tom, for your wonderful introductions. Selanjutnya kita akan menyaksikan video dari Winning Eye.
이제부터 바이오 전자섬역을 이용해서 더욱 안전하고 편리하게 계약하세요. 지문 등록 방법에 대해서 알아볼까요? 등록할 지문의 손가락을 선택하세요. 촬영하기 버튼을 터치하면 총 4회에 걸쳐서 지문을 촬영합니다. 손가락 모양의 안내선에 손가락의 크기와 위치를 맞추면 자동으로 촬영됩니다. 모든 촬영이 끝나면 등록 절차가 완료됩니다. 비접촉 지문 인증을 이용해서 전자청약 시에 바이오 전자서명하는 방법에 대하여 알아볼까요? 기존 계약 시에는 서명란을 일일이 사인을 했지만 이제부터는 터치 한 번만으로 간편하게 서명할 수 있습니다. 바이오 전자서명을 진행합니다. 태블릿 PC에 나타나는 QR코드를 스마트폰으로 스캔한 뒤 스마트폰으로 지문 인증을 해주세요. 손가락 모양 안내선에 손가락의 크기와 위치를 맞추어 촬영해주세요. 지문 인증이 성공되면 전자서명이 완료됩니다. 이제부터 바이오 전자서명을 이용해서 더욱 안전하고 편리하게 계약하세요.
Our next speaker presents a new paradigm of biometric technology in innovating security authentication technology, which is the core technology of the fourth industry. Winning Eye will become a global company leading the paradigm of biometric technology with creativity, challenge, and patience that change common sense beyond the limits of thinking. Next, we will invite Mr. Kevin Kim as International Sales Manager from Winning Eye to present about contactless biometric authentication solutions. Mr. Kevin Kim, we are pleased to have you here. The room is yours. Please activate the camera and also the microphone. Thank you.
Right. Hello. Is it on the camera right now?
Yes, we can hear and see you.
Okay, so I'm gonna share my presentation before I start. Right. So thank you for inviting me on the ATISI Digital Forum, and I wish this opportunity will be the will become the top cooperation of the security technology between Korea and Indonesia in future. So I'm Kevin Kim, and I'm in charge of the international sales in Winning Eye, and we are also cooperating with PT Profesdema in Indonesia region. So today I would like to talk about the our innovative security and biometric technology. All right, so here's a contest that I'm going to present. And okay, so first of all, Winning Eye is the specialist company of the biometric technology, and our founder and co-founder has been working more than a decade in biometric technology. Winning Eye has been established in 2015, and we are keep growing up as the one of the best biometric company in widely. So the problems of the authentication process that we consider. Current ID and password authentication system is becoming more complicated by the longer length of the characters, and the changing the period is getting shorter to prevent the leakage of the personal information. Winning Eye considered how the users can be identify themselves more easily without any complexity issues, and we decided to provide the FIDO system with the biometric technology. FIDO system is the fast identity online authentication system, and it commercialized in many of the financial institutions in Korea and also in other countries. Also, the other problems of authentication would be the storage and management of biometric information. The personal information gathered through the current financial service would be stored and managed in the server. But in further, the alternative technology are being introduced, and in order to reduce the risk following massive leakage when storing the biometric information in the server. So authentication with winning eye, that how we can solve the problems that I mentioned. So the hybrid method authentication technology is enhanced technology to storing and management the divided by the biometric information more safely with user verification, device verification, and PKI verification. Moreover, biometric data is managed safely with division and distribute management technology. Division and combination technology segment the biometric information to increase the security to prevent hacking or cyber attack. The encrypted block key will be divided by the desired ratio, which is 1 to 9 and 9 to 1, and it will be stored in the individual server physically. So technology about Aerox that our product, our technology. Aerox has been developed to provide software type of the authentication measures centered on this user without being restrict the hardware instead of the authentication method centered on certain biometric recognition technology. So before the biometric technology has been developed, the smartphone providers, they are providing the modules or sensors for the biometric technology. But now, the most of the biometric technology company, they're providing as a SDK. And Aerox has been developed to Aerox uses the rear camera of the smartphone to authentication, and Winning Eye provide SDK for embedded in the service app in use. Our technology is available to operate on both of the smartphone OS, Android and iOS, and this technology has been developed by 100% by Winning Eye, and we got patents in US and Korean market. Winning Eye is providing the contactless biometric solution to KDB Bank in Korean market as a 2-channel authentication service. So Aerox is operating as a login service and identification service in Korean financial industry, and it is possible to operate it on the web and mobile condition. And if you want to check the real service video clip, please refer the below YouTube link. This is the comparison chart of difference between contact and contactless biometric. The quality of the biometric is different by the recognition modules. The contact type of the biometric modules is very weak of skin conditions like sweaty, dry, or any dusty, and then even the environment. And it collects the biometric information with the 0.3 megapixel device. So the quality is very low. On the other hand, the contactless type of the biometric modules, which is the rear camera of the smartphone, is very strong to skin conditions or any environment, like even the rainy day. And then it is possible to collect the high quality of the biometric information through the mobile camera. Aerox includes the other technology, which is the palm print authentication solution. The palm print recognition uses the line equivalent to fingerprint and complies with the international standard of fingerprint data. So the palm print contains over 1,000 characteristic information, and it causes the high performance of authentication. Winning Eye is taking a lot of cares on the security technology to protect the personal biometric information. Our technology extracts the characters of the biometric information and delete the original image of biometric. So we are only using the block information. And Aerox is encrypted only the template from the extracted characters of biometric information. Also, our technology detects the routing and jailbreak to prevent the leakage of the biometric information from the smartphone. And anti-spoofing technology is the one of the security technology of biometric, and it used two methods which are hardware methods and software method. Aerox is applied the software type of the technology, and it takes the photo of the biometric and it detects the pore on the skin. We also proceeded the experiment with the printed fingerprint and rear fingerprint, and our technology can recognize the real fingerprint through the color histogram graph. Even Winning Eye had tested with the silicone fingerprint, and our technology also can recognize the real fingerprint through the light reflection rate. So this is the contactless biometric technology of Winning Eye, and thank you for all of you to listen to my presentation. And if you have any questions, just contact me directly, or please contact our PT Professor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin Kim, for your wonderful insight. Selanjutnya kita akan menyaksikan video dari Cloudbreak.
Cloudbreak. Smart web application protection from Cloudbreak is an affordable, fully managed web security for your company. As infrastructure environments for enterprises have changed, from on-prem to cloud and IoT, security measures have also evolved to follow suit. Cloudbreak's Smart Web Application Protection is a comprehensive, all-in-one web security service. Cloudbreak is a fully managed SecAS, or Security as a Service, meaning the Cloudbreak security team monitors all your traffic 24/7, so you can be assured your website is secure and business keeps rolling. We manage the complicated WAF rule sets and tweak configurations to suit your needs, so you don't have to. Just get insight into your security from the monthly web report available through the intuitive console. Cloudbreak also comes standard with DDoS attack protection up to 40 gigabits per second, with advanced protection options for larger attacks up to 65 terabps. And we provide free SSL certificates for all your domains, so you know your valuable data is encrypted and secured. Cloudbreak leads the industry standard with the highest accuracy. Our patented logic engine detects and blocks known, unknown, and even modified web attacks, with our deep learning AI vision to back it up for an even higher accuracy, which makes Cloudbreak web security even more effective against zero-day exploits and advanced persistent threats that cannot be blocked with traditional WAFs that rely only on known attack patterns. Ultimately, Cloudbreak boasts the highest hit rate against real threats, or in other words, a low false positive rate. That means your website welcomes real customers while blocking out hackers and cyber terrorists, so your business can grow as it should. Cloudbrick is versatile in both deployment and usage. Cloudbrick servers can be installed on the cloud, virtual private servers, or on-premise bare metal hardware. No corporate infrastructure? No worries. We'll provide the cloud, pre-installed with Cloudbrick for you. Interested in becoming a Cloudbrick business partner? We partner with MSPs like hosting companies, managed security service providers, IT consultants, and more. Smart web application protection from Cloudbrick is an affordable, fully managed web security for your company. Visit cloudbrick.com to learn more.
Our next speaker started off as an in-house endeavor in 2015 by one of the APEC's leading security companies, Penta Security System. Spinning off as its own legal entity in December 1, 2017, the founding members carried over 20 years of IT expertise and developed Cloudbricks into more than just a cloud web application firewall service. From the US all the way to Japan, Cloudbricks software protects businesses across the world, ensuring websites are free from breaches and hacks. Next, we will invite Mr. Albert Oh, as Head of Global Business from Cloudbrick, to present about AI in website security. Mr. Albert Oh, we are pleased to have you here. The room is yours. Please activate the camera and also the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind introduction. My name is Albert. I will begin my presentation as soon, and thank you very much for your introduction. Okay. So before I begin how AI is used in website security, I would like to talk about what web apps are first. So a web application or a web app is an application software that runs on a web server. And currently, an emerging strategy for application software companies is to provide web access to software previously distributed as local applications. For example, Gmail or Google Drive is a web app that many people use. The Zoom info that we're using right now is also available as a web app. So why is it important, or why do you need to protect an insecure web application with an additional security product? Wouldn't it make more sense to invest in those resources to develop a secure application, or identify and eliminate vulnerabilities? That's actually, unfortunately, virtually impossible, because even if a program code you have written yourself meets the quality standards, it may not depend on the component. In most cases, web application vulnerabilities are actually caused by coding errors. According to a 2019 study by Positive Technologies on web app vulnerabilities and threats, 9 out of 10 web applications were exposed to web threading. In addition, 82% of the vulnerabilities were due to actual code that make up an application versus other reasons such as network protocols. So how exactly can the security of a web application be guaranteed? A web application firewall plays a key role in protecting the web app. A web application firewall, or a WAF, is a specific form of application firewall that filters, monitors, and blocks HTTP or HTTPS traffic to and from a web app or web server that hosts the web apps. While WAF would inspect the web traffic, and it can prevent by exploiting a web application's known vulnerabilities, such as SQL injections, cross-site scripting, and such. Websites actually are the public face of both business and government, which is also part of a dynamic web app. So any issues with a website can actually damage reputation for the company or for the government site. That's why web app owners or website owners are motivated to improve and support their site. Security breaches on these kinds of apps are actually a major concern because it can involve both enterprise information and private customer data. So the first generation of WAF, or web application firewall, utilize 2 types of lists to determine whether or not list to determine whether or not to block traffic, whitelist and blacklist. They're basically matching patterns or signatures of web attacks. And whitelist is basically a list of characteristics that define a legitimate or true traffic, and blacklist is a list of dangerous attack patterns. However, early WAFs often mistakenly identified safe access as an attack, and they would block the safe traffic. And that's actually caused a false positive, which means this would be misdetection and lose customer loyalty. And the second generation firewalls or second generation WAFs automatically establish whitelist, but it would still take on a lot of manpower to update and maintain blacklist of all conceivable attacks. So this approach was not suitable in the current web environment, where web attack patterns were rapidly changing. So take, for example, attack with pattern A is a fruit. If you only register apple, banana, and oranges as web attack patterns, it would not be able to detect a new type of fruit. So we'll actually pass on the web attack. And that was actually one of the biggest limitations for a traditional WAF. This is also a very problem with zero-day attacks, because a zero-day attack or zero-day exploit is a cyber attack that targets specifically a vulnerability which has not been patched. The attacker spots the software vulnerability before any party is interested in mitigating it, quickly creates an exploit, and then uses it for attack. According to a Ponemon Institute 2020 study, 80% of security breaches in cyberspace were actually based on zero-day exploits. And because zero-day exploits have not been patched yet, 64% of the companies that were hit again within 19 months. Cloudbreak actually uses a third generation or the newer generation intelligent WAF. We actually combine, in addition to the traditional pattern matching technique, a heuristic analysis and semantic analysis. What that means is a heuristic analysis focused on a predictive detection and elimination of attacks by using multi-criteria analysis, testing, and verification process. For example, a URI access control is type of heuristic analysis that is included in the intelligent engine of Cloudbreak. And the semantic analysis, for example, would be sorting out, detecting different types of SQL injections. So we actually call our WAF logic-based because it actually combines different logic, parses the code of the web attack itself, and then try to understand the intent or the purpose of the attack. More and more WAF vendors are actually relying on AI or machine learning to more specifically make the WAF engine more intelligent or smarter. So machine learning is actually based on inputting a lot of data, extracting different types of feature, classifying it because it's actually very effective in classifying the different types of data that's input, and creating a results list. So it can actually be used for a log analysis or to support admins in creating optimizing WAF configurations as well. Machine learning-based methods can offer actually added value because it can even be used when the attack vector is not specifically known. So for example, in order to detect an unwanted HTTP session using a machine learning-based method, appropriate features actually have to be defined, extracted as a feature, classified, and updated as the rule set for the WAF. Examples of such features in web traffic would include something like distribution of time intervals of request, HTTP object size, or distribution of HTTP status code. So this kind of system, if with a machine learning implementation and a WAF engine, can actually answer multiple questions like, why were the individuals requested in session executed by a person? Or was this done by a software alone? Is this a normal user, or does the behavior suggest that they were a hacker? Or we also call this a behavior type of WAF as well. Different famous popular companies that actually WAF vendors actually used machine learning in their WAF as well. Akamai actually uses an analyzing traffic data to build up behavioral data set. And with the data set that they built up, they try to detect anomalies in web sessions. That way, they can actually effectively try to defend against unknown web attacks or modified web attacks. Fortinet, on the other hand, actually uses statistical data set to handle exceptions. Cloudflare, because they're actually based on a large CDN network, they use large file transfers to build up their threat intelligence set. And with that, they actually update the rule sets based on new types of patterns. It's not mentioned here, but Imperva also uses a different type of machine learning service set. For example, they actually sort and group attacks and use machine learning for classification. And this is actually very useful because they can actually assign different security levels to attack groups that can actually be prioritized investigation. So overall, the reason they use machine learning in a WAF is to basically improve accuracy and reduce the overhead. Cloudbreak, on the other hand, actually has an IP or a patent in a deep learning technology. Instead of a person actually having to allocate the features and categorize them separately, we actually use a deep learning module called a CNN, convolutional neural network. What we do with convolutional neural network is it can actually be used specifically to analyze HTTP request packets. This actually makes it possible to analyze a diverse set of attack inputs and data. CNN is actually used in more commonly used in computer vision area or image-related tasks. So it can actually handle a lot of data sets and be applied. It's actually very useful in categorizing the different types of attacks and making the rule sets even improve more. So our IP actually uses a similar technology as computer vision or image recognition. And the deep learning capabilities are used to convert web attack into a hexadecimal format, then thus to turn into an image to fed into a deep learning machine. With it, the machine can actually recognize web traffic and learn it with the data combined. So Vision, our patented name for deep learning AI, actually reapplies its learning data to our logic-based engine in our Cloudbreak WAF. That way, it can actually intelligently find new types of web attacks. So it can actually detect not just known, but modified and unknown attacks as well. So the learning results are reapplied to the rule set and thus increasing a lot accuracy by greatly. You can actually see from the results of the penetration test done by Wizings Group, which is actually an accredited CREST pen test company in Switzerland. We were actually able to detect and block 100% of the payloads that they threw at our WAF. And we were able to do that with a combined logic engine plus our machine learning AI on top of it. As a use case, I actually wanted to demonstrate an e-commerce site that we're protecting. This site actually has about 30,000 visitors a day and experiences about 25 to 30 attacks a day. That's actually the most visited domain out of the 10 domains that we're protecting for this company. But in February in 2020, even though they actually had a lot of visitors, they were experiencing not as many attacks, except for the 3 days when a cyber terrorist group actually tried to attempt an infiltration for this e-commerce site. The reason for that was actually they tried to leak customer data and they tried to infiltrate the e-commerce site using SQL injection method. SQL injection is actually the #1 web vulnerability ranked by the OWASP top 10. And they actually threw more than 3,800 hacking attempts in 3 days alone. If they had gone through, they would have, the estimated cost of breach for the e-commerce site would have been more than $3 million. To conclude, WAF technologies are actually now evolving to meet new and more sophisticated types of web threats that are arising. Some of the ways which cloud WAFs are evolving is the new technology to the threat engines. They move from traditional signature or pattern-based matching to application learning or behavioral analysis methods. So AI is actually being used to not just to replace the current WAF, but to complement it and to make it more accurate. And a lot of the WAF companies or web application firewall vendors are implementing different types of machine learning and AI to protect not just their web applications, their web servers and their website as well. So that's it for my presentation. Thank you very much for listening. And if you have questions, feel free to leave it in the chat room or ask the host for my contact information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert O, for your wonderful presentation. Selanjutnya kita akan menyaksikan video dari PT NAP Info Lintas Nusa. Kita berikutnya merupakan Managing Director dari perusahaan telekomunikasi terkemuka yang berbasis di Jakarta, Indonesia. Menyediakan layanan internet, pusat data, dan komputasi awan yang sangat handal, PT NAP selalu berkomitmen untuk memberikan solusi komunikasi kelas dunia kepada para pelanggan yang terus berkembang. Sebagai pelopor di bidangnya, PT NAP Info adalah penyedia akses jaringan netral dan independen pertama yang beroperasi di Indonesia. Memiliki dan mengoperasikan infrastruktur serat optik sublaut dengan Matrix Network PTE Ltd dan memulai pertukaran sendiri yang telah menjadi salah satu bursa internet terbesar di negara ini. Kami persilakan kepada Bapak Thomas Dragono sebagai Managing Director dari PT NAP Info Lintas Nusa untuk menyampaikan mengenai online safety. Pada Bapak Thomas Dragono, waktu dan tempat kami persilahkan. Mohon kesediaannya untuk mengaktifkan kamera dan mikrofon. Terima kasih.
Oke, selamat sore. Halo.
Selamat sore.
Selamat sore. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Terima kasih atas undangannya, ATISI dan segenap tamu undangan. Di dalam sore hari ini kami coba akan memberikan sedikit gambaran terkait bagaimana praktisi dari cybersecurity ini berdampak pada dunia online safety ya. Apakah bisa dibantu untuk slide-nya, Ibu? Sekarang kalau lokasi udah. Halo. Halo, Bapak Ibu, slide-nya juga udah muncul ini.
Sudah muncul, Pak.
Oke, ya, terima kasih. Mungkin bisa dibantu ke slide berikutnya, Ibu. Slide berikutnya lagi. Oke, sekilas tentang background saya. Saya sudah bergerak di bidang industri telekomunikasi. Kebetulan sudah 15 tahun terakhir ini berkecimpung di dunia ICT, khususnya di bagian telekomunikasi, pelayanan jasa internet sampai ke jaringan infrastruktur berbasis fiber optik. Dan latar belakang saya saat ini ada menjabat di beberapa perusahaan, salah satunya adalah sebagai Managing Director untuk ATISI Info. Mungkin bisa dibantu untuk slide berikutnya. Oke, mungkin Bapak Ibu mohon izin saya juga untuk bisa memperkenalkan sedikit siapa sebenarnya Info dan apa yang kami lakukan saat ini. Di tahun 2008, Info kebetulan berkesempatan untuk bisa membangun jaringan submarine kabel laut pertama yang menghubungkan dari Jakarta sampai ke Singapura. Nah, kabel bawah laut ini secara kapasitas totalnya sebenarnya bisa mencapai dengan 64 terabit per second, namun sampai detik hari ini baru 2,7 terabit per second yang kami aktifkan. Hal ini juga melihat dari perkembangan bandwidth yang ada terjadi saat ini. Kalau kita lihat penetrasi broadband untuk di Indonesia dan daya serap bandwidth sendiri itu baru mulai dirasakan selama 5 tahun terakhir ini. Nah, dari sana kami juga melihat bahwa dengan semakin meningkatnya aktivitas pengguna internet di Indonesia, maka gangguan akan ada cybercrime atau mungkin online yang kita sebutnya online safety itu menjadi semakin penting untuk kita cermatin bersama. Nah, Bapak Ibu sendiri dari yang Matriks Web Info sendiri tidak hanya dari sisi submarine kabel laut itu sendiri, kami juga menyediakan beraneka ragam servis layanan dari layanan koneksi internet, cloud services, data center, managed service, termasuk sampai ke cable landing station as a service. Nah, dari sini kami juga melihat bahwa adanya kebutuhan mendesak bagaimana kewaspadaan para pengguna internet itu dapat menggunakan layanan internet dengan baik, khususnya dengan adanya sebutan yang mungkin selama ini kita banyak mendengar adalah cyber army. Mungkin bisa dibantu dengan slide berikutnya. Nah, saat ini dalam bentuk usaha kami untuk bisa memberikan pelayanan yang secara optimal, Napinfo juga mendatangkan konten-konten dari luar negeri. Apa yang kami lakukan adalah menghubungkan para pengguna internet di Indonesia untuk bisa mendapatkan konten-konten dari berbagai benua. Dalam hal ini dari Amerika, Asia, dan Eropa. Untuk total keseluruhan saat ini kami sudah tersedia di 13 negara, untuk yang di 13 lokasi di 8 negara, khususnya yang dari sisi Amerika kami hadir di Seattle IX, Palo Alto IX, itu di California, dan juga NE2 West. Khusus untuk Eropa, kami juga menghadirkan diri di London Internet Exchange, Amsterdam, DECIC Frankfurt, dan juga Moscow IX. Nah, tidak hanya untuk konten-konten yang populer di benua Amerika ataupun di Eropa, kami juga mendatangkan bekerjasama dengan teman-teman di Asia, khususnya di Japan IX, Hong Kong IX, dan 4 IX lagi yang berdomisili saat ini ada di Singapura. Semua layanan ini kami hadirkan dalam rangka untuk bisa memberikan pelayanan yang lebih baik, kualitas internet yang lebih memadai, dan tentunya yang diutamakan adalah user experience. Next. Nah, sesuai dengan data yang berhasil kami himpun dari Pusat Operasi Keamanan Cyber Nasional, BSS Indonesia, bahwa di tahun 2020, sepanjang dari bulan Januari sampai ke bulan Oktober, telah terjadi 423 juta cyber attack. Yang sama-sama kita tahu bahwa angka ini sangat alarming, ya, sangat tinggi. Dari tahun ke tahun kita sudah melihat adanya peningkatan cyber attack, cyber crime, dan berbagai negara sudah mengambil antisipasi untuk bisa membentuk cyber police. Di sana fungsi tugasnya adalah untuk bisa tidak hanya menangkap, ya, dalam hal ini adalah untuk finding the hackers, tapi juga untuk bisa meminimalisir ancaman-ancaman sejak dini. Tidak hanya ancaman dari hackers, yang saat ini kita lihat adalah bagaimana cyber army ini sudah mulai bergerak melakukan berbagai rangkaian serangan dalam sesuai dengan perkembangan politik di masing-masing negara. Ya, kalau misalnya kita sebut beberapa negara yang menjadi prominent dalam cyber warfare ini adalah dari Rusia, dari China, dan tentunya dari US sendiri. Okay, next. Bapak Ibu sekalian, seperti yang kita ketahui juga, beberapa cyber threat yang mungkin bisa dirasakan langsung adalah salah satunya ada IoT. Ya, IoT ini adalah bagaimana device-device yang selama ini terhubung dengan Wi-Fi itu dengan mudah untuk bisa terserang dari jaringan hackers melalui malware. Ya. Malware yang dimasukin adalah insertion, sehingga hal-hal ini tentunya akan membawa dampak negatif dari segala jenis perangkat lunak ataupun perangkat keras yang terhubungkan dengan Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi yang dimaksud ini tidak hanya Wi-Fi di public area, tapi Wi-Fi juga yang ada di dalam rumah kita. Nah, selain daripada itu, ada juga serangan yang paling common di dunia internet service provider kita, khususnya adalah DOS atau denial of service dan DDoS. Ya. DDoS ini banyak menyerang dalam skala besar, biasanya adalah pada jaringan upstream. Kalau misalkan dari kita bicara dari deepfaking yang dimaksud di sini adalah lebih ke machine learning dan artificial intelligence. Dalam manipulasi bagaimana video ataupun mungkin yang lebih kita kenal adalah sepertinya hoax. Ya, dari sana kita banyak juga melihat adalah perkembangan bagaimana secara undang-undang itu sudah mulai terasasin dan adanya pemberlakuan undang-undang ITE di Indonesia. Nah, ransomware ini juga sangat common. Ransomware di mana beberapa data-data target ya dalam hal ini adalah kita sebagai pengguna internet itu sendiri itu terinkripsi. Data-data ini berhasil diinfiltrasi oleh ransomware sehingga kita harus menebusnya dengan dana tebusan yang tidak kecil. Selain daripada itu, yang paling common juga itu adalah phishing. Phishing ataupun social engineering attack. Ini adalah bagaimana si hacker ataupun para pelaku kejahatan cybercrime ini mereka melakukan pemantauan secara pola traffic email yang keluar masuk dari mailboxnya kita. Bagaimana itu contoh kasus yang paling gampang adalah seorang hacker bisa mengatasnamakan nama samaran dengan alamat domain email yang hampir menyerupai yang aslinya dan mengirimkan message yang sangat identik dengan apa yang pernah dikirimkan sebelumnya melalui pola-pola. Contohnya adalah request untuk money transfer, money wiring. Ya, hal ini sering terjadi. Kita ketahui bahwa karena dengan adanya kegiatan-kegiatan rutinitas yang kita jalankan, terkadang kita hanya melihat subjek email ataupun dari alat pengirim email tanpa membaca sampai secara lengkapnya. Terkadang teman-teman finance khususnya di sini yang sering menjadi target phishing, karena di sanalah terjadi transaksi untuk dialihkan sejumlah uang transfer ke rekening offshore biasanya. Nah, dari sini juga kita melihat bahwa tidak hanya ada peluang, tapi kita juga harus memastikan bahwa para target daripada cyber warfare ini harus bisa menjadi teredukasi dengan baik. Ya, dengan semakin berkembangnya dunia internet, online safety ini menjadi satu prioritas dan peran nyata yang harus diambil dari kami selaku internet service provider. Next. Di sini saya mengutip beberapa insiden yang terjadi tahun 2018 yang cukup mengagetkan dunia adalah pada saat Facebook mengalami cyber attack dengan lebih daripada 50 juta akun pribadi dari para pengguna Facebook itu bocor. Selain daripada itu, yang juga menjadi highlight di tahun lalu adalah Bapak Ibu sangat familiar dengan yang namanya Garmin. Ya, Garmin itu sangat identik dengan kita-kita yang sering berolahraga, kita merekam statistik seberapa lama kita melakukan aktivitas, lari, running, jogging ataupun weight training ya. Kita terkait misalkan heart rate. Nah, itu semuanya data-data yang di Garmin itu juga sempat mengalami ransomware sehingga Garmin harus menebusnya dengan kurang lebih hampir 10 juta US dollar. Dan itu outage di tahun 2020 di pertengahan sekitar bulan Mei dan Juni dan Juli itu mengakibatkan perangkat-perangkat device Garmin tidak bisa melakukan sync terhadap semua aktivitas yang kita lakukan. Sebelumnya itu, kita juga melihat adanya satu perusahaan healthcare, Magellan di US, yang juga mengalami hal serupa. Nah, kalau kita lihat, semua ini yang menjadi target selalu menjadi data-data pribadi, ya, data-data pribadi pengguna daripada suatu platform ataupun suatu sosial media. Oleh karena itu, seperti yang saya sampaikan adalah setiap perusahaan hanya bisa melakukan there's only so much that they can do. Ya, sisanya adalah bagaimana mereka harus bisa meyakinkan bahwa keamanan ini datang dari dua sisi, tidak hanya dari sisi penyedia perangkat hardware, tapi juga dari sisi bagaimana pengguna internet Indonesia itu lebih smart, lebih teredukasi dan lebih mengetahui kondisi-kondisi daripada online safety itu sendiri. Next. Beberapa langkah konkret yang sudah diambil dari kami, Matrix Napinfo, adalah salah satunya mengimplementasikan DOS dan DDoS protection, itu di sisi upstreamnya. Artinya, apabila ada surge of traffic coming in yang akan membombardir dari sisi network, itu kami sudah bisa antisipasi sejak dini. Kalaupun sampai terjadi, itu sifatnya bisa diatasi dalam waktu yang sesingkat-singkatnya, dalam hitungan menit. Lalu kami juga mengimplementasikan adalah advanced firewall, di mana advanced firewall ini adalah untuk kembali lagi memproteksi gangguan-gangguan yang ada di sisi customer. Ya, advanced firewall ini kita memastikan bahwa semua traffic yang routing keluar masuk menuju pelanggan yang Napinfo sendiri itu sudah terfilter dengan baik, sehingga ancaman-ancaman yang bisa terantisipasi itu bisa kita atasi sejak awal. Nah, yang paling utama yang menjadi fokus daripada hari ini yang mau kita sampaikan adalah bagaimana peran dari industri, tidak hanya dari internet service provider, tapi bagaimana peran daripada asosiasi untuk kita bisa bersama-sama meningkatkan rasa awareness terhadap public awareness tentang cyber threat itu sendiri, ya. Di mana sosialisasi kita terhadap kewaspadaan dalam hal menggunakan internet semakin tinggi. Sepertinya kalau misalnya kita lihat dalam kondisi pandemi seperti ini, bagaimana pemerintah dan stakeholder lainnya melakukan sosialisasi untuk penggunaan masker dan protokol kesehatan. Serupa dengan hal-hal yang berkaitan dengan online safety. Effort ini akan memakan banyak waktu dan resources, tapi saya percaya hanya dengan awareness dari publik itulah yang akan membatasi ruang gerak hacker dan tentunya untuk bisa melindungi data-data pribadi kita sendiri. Oke, next. Oke, ini adalah slide saya terakhir. Kami berharap bahwa materi singkat ini dapat memberikan sedikit gambaran apa yang menjadi concern kita saat ini di dunia sekuritas, khususnya dari sisi security. Dan Let's Connect, saya ada di LinkedIn, dapat ditemukan di laman berikut ini. Terima kasih atas waktunya dan salam sehat untuk kita semua.
Terima kasih kepada Bapak Thomas Dragono. Selanjutnya kita akan melakukan sesi foto bersama untuk seluruh pembicara di sesi kedua. We would like to invite all VIPs and all speakers for the Session 2 ceremony photos. Bapak Dr. Insinyur Sani Soeharli selaku Ketua Umum Asosiasi Teknologi dan Industri Security Indonesia, Bapak Timotius Rinaldo sebagai Chief Technology Officer dari Coinworks, Mr. Adam Bennett as Chief Executive Officer of Fred Piranha, Mr. Dobi Duyop Kim as Global Business Manager of Somansa, Mr. Tom Su as Head of Indonesia Project Team of Uniview, Mr. Kevin Kim as International Sales Manager of Winning Eye, Mr. Albert Oh as Head of Global Business of Cloudbreak, dan Bapak Thomas Dragono sebagai Managing Director dari PT NAP Info Lintas Nusa. Please activate your camera. Mr. Albert? Yes. Mr. Albert, please activate the camera for ceremony photo. Okay, we will start the ceremony photo. I will count from 1 to 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. We will take this second picture. I will counting once more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much for all panelists. Dengan berakhirnya sesi foto bersama, kita akan masuk ke sesi tanya jawab. We will open the question and answer session. We have the first question from Mr. Tony from CSI. This question addressed to Somansa. The question is, for sensitive data which is stored in on-premise company server, how Somansa manage the data to be open from workers' PC at home? Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Dobi.
Yes, I already answered to the chat on the Zoom, and so there are two options for the case you mentioned. The first option is the sensitive data stored on the server can be encrypted by privileged eye to open by only someone who is in the office. The second one is that even if the user transfers the sensitive data to the PC at home, they are under the security policy if the agent is installed. So that's my answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Joby, for the answer. The next question comes from Mr. Johnny and addressed to Cloudbreak. The question is, we use domain hosts with security features. Will it overlap with Cloudbreaks? And how do you charge your solutions? Is it yearly payment or based on traffic? Mr. Albert? Okay, I will skip to the next questions. Pertanyaan berikutnya dari Bapak Monty Montana dari Indonesia Today. Pertanyaannya ditujukan untuk Bapak Thomas. Pertanyaannya adalah, bagaimana mengatasi dari backer-backer? Apakah ada sistem yang mengatasi hal tersebut? Dan apakah di sistem kita atau pada user kita ada notifikasi bahwa sistem kita dimasuki oleh hacker? Pada Bapak Thomas.
Halo, saya ada sedikit gangguan tadi signalnya, mungkin bisa diulang sedikit pertanyaannya tadi?
Iya, saya ulang ya Pak. Bagaimana cara mengatasi hacker? Apakah ada sistem yang mengatasi hal tersebut? Dan apakah di sistem kita atau pada user kita akan ada notifikasi bahwa sistem kita dimasuki oleh hacker?
Oke, terima kasih. Jadi ada beberapa hal yang mungkin menjawab pertanyaan yang paling statement terakhir adalah bagaimana kita mengetahui apakah ada hacker masuk ke sistem kita. Most likely pada saat adanya serangan cyber attack itu sendiri, kita tanpa kita sadari itu sudah terjadi. Jadi ada beberapa hal yang mungkin harus kita lakukan sebagai langkah antisipasi. Contohnya, untuk demi kenyamanan kita sehari-hari browsing, sering sekali kita melakukan remember password, ya, yang bisa dilakukan melalui browser. Saat ini hampir setiap browser itu sudah menawarkan opsi untuk remember password. Termasuk apa yang kita lakukan dari sisi device dan gadget. Sering sekali mereka juga menawarkan opsi apakah password daripada credentials kita akan disimpan atau tidak. Nah, yang salah satu bisa dilakukan adalah untuk secara berkala melakukan pembaruan password. Ya, pembaruan password yang dimaksud ini harus mengandung security level yang sangat memadai. Contohnya harus ada kombinasi antara simbol, alphabetical dan numerical. Yaitu harus memastikan bahwa pemilihan password kita cukup kuat. Nah, sistem apa yang bisa diimplementasikan? Salah satunya adalah dilakukan pembaruan ataupun updating dari sisi internet security berupa software ataupun juga antivirus yang bisa kita pasang untuk PC rumahan. Namun, kalau untuk konteks di enterprise, saya sangat menyarankan adanya penerapan sistem firewall. Firewall ini akan memastikan bahwa jaringan-jaringan yang dilakukan oleh seluruh pengguna di kantor itu bisa terproteksi ataupun minimal setidak-tidaknya meminimalisir adanya serangan daripada cyber attack itu sendiri. Sehingga apabila kalau kita hanya bertumpu pada melakukan install sistem atau deploy satu sistem dan merasa aman, sebenarnya tidak hanya sebatas sistem, karena kita juga harus mengambil langkah-langkah preventif lainnya, dan itu yang saya tekankan adalah itu harus datang dari kita sebagai pengguna internet itu sendiri. Jadi maka kesadaran masyarakat akan adanya cyber warfare ini ataupun cyber attack itu sangat-sangat diharapkan bisa masuk ke level yang lebih advance lagi. Mungkin itu yang bisa saya coba jawab pertanyaan. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Bapak Thomas atas jawabannya. And for the last question, we have a question from Miss Lucy from Indonesian Palm. The question addressed to Mr. Tom Uniview. The question is, what is your strong key point compared to other brands? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the question. And I think Uniview's history, Uniview born from HP. So Uniview born the IT technology, which from HP, and which is very special in Chinese CCTV video manufacturer, video surveillance manufacturer. Uniview is the special one. So I think Uniview's best technology is combine IT and video surveillance together. And Uniview have a lot of high-end project experience to prove that Uniview's solution is most quality and safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tom, for answering the questions. Demikianlah akhir dari sesi tanya jawab kita hari ini. Selamat kepada para peserta yang pertanyaannya dipilih. Tim kami akan menghubungi para peserta untuk mengirimkan hadiah menarik. And thank you for all the panelists for answering the questions. Kami juga akan memberikan e-sertifikat untuk para peserta hari ini dengan cara mengisi Google Form yang akan kami distribusikan melalui link di akhir acara nanti. Sekarang kita akan memasuki saat untuk pengundian door prize dan juga grand prize bagi para peserta. Perlu saya informasikan bahwa akan ada 3 door prize dan juga 1 grand prize berupa 1 paket CCTV dari Uniview. Sekarang seperti yang dapat kita lihat di layar, sudah muncul nama-nama peserta webinar hari ini. Sambil menunggu nama-namanya muncul, perlu saya informasikan terlebih dahulu kepada para peserta yang nanti namanya muncul sebagai pemenang, harap menekan tombol raise hand. Saya akan hitung sampai 3, jika tidak ada maka akan dianggap hangus dan saya akan mengundi pemenang lainnya. Ya, saya akan mulai mengundi door prize yang pertama. 1, 2, 3. Ya, selamat kepada Bapak atau Ibu Novianto. Harap menekan tombol raise hand. Akan saya hitung 1 sampai 3. 1, 2, 3. Ya. Tidak ada. Baiklah, akan saya skip dan akan saya undi lagi. 1, 2, 3. Ya, selamat kepada Ibu Hayatun Nisa. Harap menekan tombol raise hand, Ibu. Saya hitung 1, 2, 3. Tidak ada juga atas nama Ibu Hayatun Nisa, akan saya undi kembali. Ini masih untuk door prize yang pertama ya. 1, 2, 3. Selamat kepada Bapak Setiawan Susilo. Harap menekan tombol raise hand, Bapak Setiawan. Saya hitung 1, 2, 3. Tidak ada juga Bapak Setiawan Susilo. Masih saya undi untuk door prize yang pertama. 1, 2, 3. Ya, selamat kepada Ibu Dewi Triana Saleh. Harap menekan tombol raise hand, Ibu Dewi. Akan saya hitung. 1, 2, 3. Tidak ada juga atas nama Ibu Dewi. Baiklah, akan saya hitung kembali. 1, 2, 3. Ya, selamat kepada Bapak Agus Riyatna. Harap menekan tombol raise hand, Bapak Agus. Saya hitung 1, 2, 3. Ternyata masih tidak ada juga. Akan saya hitung kembali, ini masih door prize yang pertama ya. 1, 2, 3. Selamat kepada Bapak Randi Albert Patikaihatu. Silakan menekan tombol raise hand, Bapak Randi. 1, 2, 3. Tidak ada juga atas nama Bapak Randi. Akan saya undi lagi, semoga yang kali ini ada yang raise hand ya. 1, 2, 3. Ya, kembali ke Bapak atau Ibu Novianto. Ya, selamat kepada Bapak Mahmud. Harap menekan tombol raise hand, Bapak Mahmud. 1, 2, 3. Belum ada juga. Baiklah, akan saya undi kembali. 1, 2, 3. Selamat kepada Bapak Daniel Agustinus. Harap menekan tombol raise hand, Bapak Daniel. Saya hitung 1, 2, 3. Ya, selamat kepada Bapak Ruditan. Harap menekan tombol raise hand, Bapak Ruditan. Saya hitung 1, 2, 3. Ya, selamat kepada Bapak Arno Frianto. Apakah ada Bapak Arno Frianto? Harap menekan tombol raise hand. Ya, tidak ada juga sepertinya. Akan saya undi lagi. Ya, selamat kepada Ibu Dian Anugrah Wahyu Wicaksono. Silakan menekan tombol raise hand. 1, 2, 3. Oke, masih tidak ada. Akan terus saya undi sampai kita mendapatkan pemenangnya. Ya, selamat kepada Bapak Juni Tamrin. Silakan menekan tombol raise hand, Bapak Juni. Oke, tidak ada. Akan saya undi lagi. Selamat kepada Ibu Ika Dewi Sartika. Ya, akhirnya saya mendapatkan pemenang untuk door prize yang pertama. Selamat kepada Ibu Ika Dewi Sartika. Tim kami akan segera menghubungi Ibu untuk penyerahan hadiahnya. Sekarang kita akan undi untuk door prize yang kedua. Ya, kembali ke Bapak Randi Albert Patikaihatu. Apakah kali ini Bapak Randi ada? Oke, masih tidak ada. Saya undi lagi. Selamat kepada Ibu Lena Nurdiana. Harap menekan tombol raise hand, Ibu Lena. 1, 2, 3. Tidak ada atas nama Ibu Lena, akan saya undi kembali untuk door prize yang kedua. Selamat kepada Bapak Galogat Ferry Hasudungan. Apakah ada atas nama Bapak Ferry? Saya hitung 1, 2, 3. Tidak ada. akan saya undi kembali untuk door prize yang kedua. Selamat kepada Bapak Suhardi. Apakah ada Bapak Suhardi? Tidak ada. Akan saya undi lagi, masih untuk door prize yang kedua. Selamat kepada Bapak Faroman Syarif. Silakan menekan tombol raise hand, Bapak Faroman. Ya, tidak ada juga. Akan saya undi kembali. Selamat kepada Bapak Helmi Onasis. Apakah ada atas nama Bapak Helmi? Harap menekan tombol raise hand. 1, 2, 3. Tidak ada juga. Baiklah, masih akan tetap saya undi untuk door prize yang kedua. Selamat kepada Ibu Rosi. Apakah ada atas nama Ibu Rosi? Baiklah, selamat kepada Ibu Rosi. Tim kami akan segera menghubungi Ibu untuk penyerahan hadiahnya. Untuk yang terakhir, saya akan mengundi door prize yang ketiga. Selamat kepada Ibu Lucinda Sibarani. Harap menekan tombol raise hand, Ibu. 1, 2, 3. Ya, kita sudah mendapatkan 3 pemenang door prize. Selamat kepada Ibu Lucinda Sibarani. Tim kami akan segera menghubungi Ibu untuk penyerahan hadiahnya. Dan sekarang kita akan mengundi untuk grand prize berupa 1 paket CCTV dari Uniview. Saya akan mulai mengundi. 1, 2, 3. Selamat kepada Ibu Liana Chandra Devi. Harap menekan tombol raise hand, Ibu Liana. Saya hitung 1, 2, 3. Tidak ada. Baiklah, akan saya undi kembali untuk pemenang grand prize hari ini. Selamat kepada Bapak Budi Prasetyo. Apakah ada atas nama Bapak Budi? Harap menekan tombol raise hand. Ya, tidak ada juga atas nama Bapak Budi. Akan saya undi kembali untuk grand prize hari ini. Selamat kepada Bapak Boradi. Harap menekan tombol raise hand, Bapak, apabila hadir. Baiklah, selamat kepada Bapak Boradi telah memenangkan grand prize berupa 1 paket CCTV dari Uniview. Selamat kepada Bapak dan Ibu yang telah memenangkan grand prize dan juga door prize. Tim kami akan segera menghubungi Bapak dan Ibu untuk penyerahan hadiah. Seremoni ini sekaligus menutup acara ATISI Digital Forum Cybersecurity and Data Protection 2021 and Beyond. Kami mohon maaf yang sedalam-dalamnya apabila ada kesalahan dalam penyebutan nama maupun gelar. Terima kasih atas kehadiran para pembicara dan juga seluruh undangan. Salam sejahtera dan sampai bertemu di acara berikutnya.